I'm Christopher Loddick. There's Sactown Sports Headlines. Sacramento Kings are now 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win over the New York Knicks last night. Domantas Sabonis recorded his ninth triple-double of the season with 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. For a breakout of last night's win, check out Kings insider Frankie Cardoselli's on SactownSports.com. Kings are off tonight. They'll be back in action tomorrow when they face the Phoenix Suns. Suns will be without forward Kevin Durant, who the team said will be reevaluated in 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. And now it's time for Deuce and Mo.
Live from Sacramento.
It's Deuce and Mo
on Sactown Sports.
We are live. Happy Friday. Deuce Mason, Morgan, Reagan, and we're kicking off the show the only way we should after what went down last night at Golden One Center. The Kings at home, TNT in the house, they get the job done. Even if it made Mike Brown furious, the Kings got the win, so why don't we start today with a Kings round table? Deuce Mason, Morgan, Reagan, Frankie Cardoselli, Roach is better. He's back in the building, and of course, we got the man, Chris Watkins. How are we doing on this Friday?
Great. Never
good.
felt better.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just did like an epic, like, yeah, let's go. And all I hear is like, yeah, we're good. Like, what was up with that, Morgan?
Probably because I
offended.
bet you people thought that your energy was fake and that you're like frustrated energy. And so
Okay,
then they're
no. We're not doing this, Morgan, because you're going to say that because you knew I was frustrated a bit to start the show.
Correct.
And it's not anyone's fault. We just had some technical glitches because, we're doing it for the podcast studio.
Very frustrated.
Yeah,
everyone was frustrated.
Shout out to Chris Verlaud, though, for figuring it out. I mean, Chris Verlaud back there, I saw him.
Thank
He was
you.
it was like, have you ever seen The Bear, that show, The Bear, where like they're cooking crazy in the kitchen? He was back there just running on every computer screen. He fixed it. Shout out Chris.
I agree. And I think, Deuce sometimes is just so passionate about things being right that sometimes I'm like, hey, let loose, man. It's okay if a few things just get screwed up.
Oh, yeah, let's accept. You know who I was? I was Mike Brown. Mike Brown last night. I was like, hey, I'm happy.
We got the win. We figured it out. We figured it out, but
we lit the beam.
Still some time for some frustration for sure.
Don't accept in victory what you wouldn't accept in defeat, Chris Watkins.
Talk about it.
Let's go. Happy Friday, everyone. Here we got a jam-packed show this hour. Kings Roundtable with Chris Watkins, Morgan Reagan, Frankie Cardoselli. We'll recap what we witnessed last night. Look ahead to the Suns game coming up at noon. Hunter Patterson from The Athletic joins us live. And then at 1 o'clock, Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee. We'll talk about the Kings game last night, even sprinkle in a little Niners because Brock Purdy had a surgery today.
Are we going to break down everything that the surgeons did within the surgery? Because it is March, and I'm so glad that we are going to talk about Brock Purdy and his elbow for an hour.
Okay, one, we're not. Passive-aggressive Morgan. Okay, I promise you we're doing plenty of Kings. You know, I feel like you kind of need right now?
What
is this?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll think about this for a few
I thought we were about
minutes.
to get a fog machine.
Oh,
me too.
I'm not going to do I'm not doing a fog machine.
A vitamin?
No.
Okay.
No.
Vitamin.
Okay, we'll talk.
Okay.
Kings win last night 122-117. It was an electric night, man. The vibes were awesome. It's weird after the game because I felt like I was on this euphoric high of coming off, hey, man, Kings on national TV. They didn't embarrass themselves. It wasn't totally pretty. They found a way to win. And then after the game, it was like Mike Brown's like dropping the hammer on everybody. I guess let's start with you, Morgan. Your first thought, your first reaction to how the Kings got the job done yet last night.
Yeah, I think I'm with you where I was more on that high, right? Like, yeah, TNT, they showed up. What's up? Now, there's so many. It was interesting because you guys, we obviously talked about this last night, and there were so many times that we were very critical about what went wrong in this win. And I feel like there's a lot of wins this season where the euphoric fun energy can take over, where there's just so much good to talk about that you're not really pointing out the flaws. Like you'll break them down the next day or something. Last night though, it was so apparent what those flaws were. It was so deflating, not only for us as viewers, but I'm sure for these teammates and these guys. And so when you look at that and then you see how Mike Brown came out in that press conference, I understood it because his standards are so high. And now we're in this part of the season, Chris and Frankie, where expectations are higher. And so now things are going to be a little different when we break down every game.
Chris, you want to start us off?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's pretty much what Mike said after the game as well, on top of countless other things that he said after the game. But it's just like, yeah, like it's again, it's great that we got the win, but now is not the time for us to be having these ridiculous mistakes, like allowing a team that we know is going to try and crash the offensive glass or just the glass in general, and not to do something as simple as just put a body on somebody. Like you mentioned, like there's so much, so much joy that happened at the conclusion of the game, but you couldn't have that conclusion without the collapse. I don't really know what you would call it, but just without the Kings' struggle throughout that game. And the struggle was, like you mentioned, just so evident that it was really, really hard to watch. And it was really frustrating to just see the Knicks at some points get like 4 offensive rebounds in one possession. You had to know that was going to be addressed. Like there was no time to really celebrate the win, because the win wouldn't have been that difficult if they would have taken care of business.
That's the wild thing. With that said, like, how things shift so quickly, Frankie. Like a year ago, we're talking about, hey, lottery standings, blah, blah, blah. Now we talked about is, hey, man, just have a playoff team. We'll feel great. And I still think we all feel great, but it's interesting how, like, now expectations are a little higher. Mike Brown wants to hold his team accountable. They won last night, but he was feeling it. And if he was feeling that way in the press conference, just imagine what he did in the Kings locker room after that game.
Yeah, it is funny how things have changed, and the Kings have kind of gone from this is a feel-good story, and it's something that, it's almost like the adorable Kings. They're competing this year, and now we're a few weeks away from the playoffs, and it's real. I mean, the Kings are fighting for playoff seeding, and pulling out a game like last night. I mean, I wrote it last night. Good teams win ugly, and I think the Kings are a good team, but that doesn't mean you have to be content with how you're getting to the finish line. And the Kings started off so well last night. I mean, you're looking at the first half, they shoot 60% from the field. They outscored the Knicks by 16. They hold the Knicks at 35% from the field, 25 from 3. They locked in defensively. They came out, they set the tone, which was not the case the last time these two teams played in New York. The Knicks completely ran them out of the gym in the beginning. Julius Randle had 17 points. The Kings set the tone, but I don't know if it's from being comfortable or just kind of, De'Aaron Fox was dealing with a couple of things, got poked in the eye. I mean, it clearly didn't bother him too much. Finished the game with 15 points in the fourth, but the pace wasn't there, and that's something that just can't happen. And, of course, the rebounding has been an issue all season long. But last night, you knew coming in, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, is you knew coming in how tough the Knicks are on the glass, 4th in the league in rebounding, yet they just walked all over the Kings. And, Mike Brown wasn't happy about it, and he laid into him.
Well, the Kings Roundtable is live, by the way. I know we already have to break, but it's going to be a 60-second break on the radio side. We always stay live on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. There's so many different angles we have to hit from last night's game. Also, there's obviously good from the win, too. It's not all like doom and gloom, Mike Brown. Just kidding. It's Deuce and Mo. It's Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com. Morgan, if you shake your head.
I'm so glad we had a conversation going for 11 minutes and then we have to break.
Okay, then stop doing it. Then leave. Then leave. I'm not doing this today. Like, yeah, there are breaks in this. Like, I don't deal with it. It's not night chat.
Oh, God.
Someone said no defensive player of the game chain last night. I don't think there was.
No, God, no.
When you allow 23 offensive rebounds, there's no defensive player of the game chain. I do want to talk about.
I think it should default to the G-Man then, correct?
Yes.
No, because he had to defend the Kings' play calling that game.
Great point. Great point.
Were there any celebs there last night?
A lot of college quarterbacks, right?
Yeah,
like,
some college quarterbacks. There was
so no celebs. Okay.
Dante Pettis, former 49ers draft bust, was there.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say great for a second, and I was gonna have a problem with you. Yeah.
Josh Childress former NBA
Stanford
forward
legend.
Josh Childress was at the game last night.
No fro. Didn't
Why?
have the afro.
5 seconds.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Everybody coming to their feet here at Golden One Center. The drama playing out. 36 seconds to go. Shot clock hits 10. Fox at the logo. Creeps toward the left ring. Still in three-point range. Dances with a dribble. In attack mode. Drives. Double clutch glass. He's got the layup. 2-possession lead. 26.4 to go.
Oh, De'Aaron Fox took over last night in the Kings win. I know Mike Brown's upset. We'll talk about that, but let's give me a little fog on a Friday. First time ever in the fog machine here, Morgan.
How did I?
I think
Their audio-
Oh, that's not good.
Mike.
Their
I think
audio
the
just
fog
went out.
The fog
The
destroyed.
fog
mic.
just destroyed the audio. We can't hear you.
So we
guys.
can't hear you guys, just to let you know.
Maybe they can't hear us. Maybe the fog ruined
So
everything.
how about
They hear us. They're trying to figure out why they try to figure it out.
How about that Kings win last night?
No, why they try to figure it out. I was kind of thinking about. I mean,
You know
as
what?
far as celebrities going to a Kings playoff game, I mean, if the Kings make the playoffs first round,
Yeah.
you have to imagine they invite the big five back. I mean,
Did you
Bibby,
see? Yes.
Weber,
Oh my God.
Asia.
Yes, that would be incredible. That is such a great call. I bet they do that. I wonder if, I wonder if they call 50 Cent back. I saw 50 Cent was made an
Yeah.
appearance at the Pacers game last night. So
That's so random.
He's just all over.
hey, I think they're back with us.
Deuce and Mo, you're back real quick. Real quick thought. We're trying to filibuster. If and when the Kings make the playoffs in the first round, do you think courtside game one, Weber, Bibby, Vladi, Peja, are they coming back for game one, or do you think that's like they got to make it a little further to have that honor? I mean, we're trying to think about the random celebrities or celebrities. I mean,
Yeah.
Hassan Minaj will probably be there. I mean, the people that have been coming in and out, but
Deuce Mason will be there.
Okay, that
Deuce
doesn't matter.
Mason will be there.
But if they are playing, depends on who they're playing. If they're playing an LA team, I think there might be some C list celebrities that roll through courtside. It's a playoff game. People want to see what's going on in California. Maybe.
I want all those guys there. Bring them all. Bring the whole 2002 squad in. I don't care at all.
Does
By the way,
E40 become a Kings fan again?
was he a Kings fan?
Oh yeah.
Was he
Really?
Oh, you guys don't remember that? Yeah.
was
when
he
they were
really?
here.
I mean, or did he go to games and just wear a King's hat?
He went to games.
Okay.
DC
Also,
talked about seeing him there.
before we continue, what did you hear before our audio cut out?
You screaming and
Yeah.
fog.
That's
Okay.
about it.
It's
It was electric. It was
it's kind
it-
of a
it got me
bummer
pumped up.
that the fog thing.
I know.
And it cut out.
I know. It was. What I was saying, you guys, is I literally didn't even notice that he had a giant fog machine. It was actually came by surprise. I don't know why I didn't look over once to see that he was getting it ready.
I guess the question I have about StreamYard, which we use,
Ooh.
do we use the free version as a station? Like what? Like
Now you're flaming StreamYard.
Dude,
it's a question. I'm wondering if we do the
we
free version. That's all.
have issues.
I'm just
I think
asking.
that sounds like a rhetorical question.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Multi-million
we all
dollar
know
company.
the answer to
Yeah.
that.
Don't
Yeah,
pay
I
for it.
think-
Okay.
I think we all know the answer. to that.
Okay. Anyway, let's get back to what we saw last night. The highlight that I played coming into the break was De'Aaron Fox again. 8 points going into the fourth quarter. I just thought that his ability to take over that game late, especially when it was tied at 96 apiece, it looked very fragile, right? The Knicks were getting offensive rebounds. Actually, the previous play, they had 5 offensive rebounds on one possession. Goes out of bounds with 1 second left on the shot clock. RJ Barrett hits a 3 to tie the game. You're like, okay, what's going to happen? Fox destroyed Josh Hart last night. And I know Josh Hart did his thing, but watching Fox, he cooked Josh Hart last night. What jumped out to you, Morgan Reagan, about De'Aaron Fox?
I thought, once again, you guys, we saw a game where he didn't start off as the one that was producing all the points, right? Like he was the one that was doing what he could. He wasn't having this super hot game. whatever. Didn't matter because there's other guys contributing. Obviously, Malik Monk stepped up. We had Domas Sabonis with the trip dub. De'Aaron Fox in that fourth quarter, though, showed up exactly on time, right when everyone needed him most, especially after that awful third quarter. And I feel like the way that he came out and he was throwing it down or even going to the rim with the body, with some pushback from guys and still finding a way to go through them and wasn't getting every call that it feels like he's been getting lately since being an all-star. It was a different level, and the emotion that he wore on his body language, I loved it so much. Chris, you're shaking your head. What did you like about him?
The emotion right there, just like you said, it definitely felt like, especially in that fourth quarter, and we've seen it before, but he really like flipped a switch in that fourth quarter. He turned it on, and it felt like he felt the moment. He felt that game was slipping away. You mentioned RJ hitting that three at the top of the key. He instantly comes down the floor. I mean, there was some movement before he takes the shot, but got the look from three, didn't hesitate, pulled the three, hit it. And then he went on a 7-0 run himself. It really felt like he just took over. And then, the emotion was the thing that really stuck out to me. He generally, he gets himself hyped on occasion, but it really felt like he had a little bit extra that he had to say last night.
That was great to see, Frankie. And that the other thing that I love too is seeing him dunk again. I know Malik Monk said it before the season started, like, oh yeah, he'll be dunking again. He's brought it back, man. It's been something that's been missing from his game the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said a couple of years ago, I think it took energy, and I think people said before that dunking in the NBA, I mean, it hurts your hand. You can't injure your hands. But this season, 33 dunks, and that's more than the last two seasons combined. He had 31 dunks the past two seasons combined. His career high, though, is 41 in 2018-2019. That year, Kings won 39 games. So something about these years when the Kings play better basketball, De'Aaron Fox is more aggressive, and I mean, he's pumped up like we saw last night. A little different version of him, and I like to see that. And that's a version of him that I'm excited to see come playoff time because, the jury is going to be out on whether De'Aaron Fox is built for playoff basketball. I think that he is. I think that the fact that he is a closer and has been the NBA's best closer in the fourth quarter of the season, and who he was in college, just he's meant for the big moment. And last night, like Chris said, game was slipping away. The game went from being, out of reach, 20-point game, tie game, a couple minutes left. And Fox really did a good job of, putting the game away and doing what he does best.
Well, I love the way that Mike Brown was trying to challenge Domas and De'Aaron after the game. And because, Frankie, you kind of talk about how, he looks like he's ready for the playoffs and everything. And it's true. But what I love is that Mike Brown challenges to take one extra leap. And that extra leap was talking about communication. And I know you'll share Mike Brown audio in a second, but you think about how important it is for your leaders to communicate. And I'm not just talking about on defense and got your help. Okay, slide, no, ball, whatever. It's more about holding guys accountable. So when Mike Brown is all the way down on the other end, he doesn't have to be the one screaming across the court trying to hold those guys accountable. These guys, there's enough respect to go around that they can start to do that.
Yeah, it was wild. I know we're going to play some of that audio today. There's so much to go over, but I was listening to Kevin Herter on Sactown Sports' YouTube page from the post game that you guys posted. It was interesting getting his perspective on the whole thing, and he's just like, this is how Mike Brown coaches. This is our culture. Like, he's going to call those things out, and we know this, which was very interesting because I think some people hear that and like, oh man, is this just Mike losing it right now? Is he doing this because it's on TNT? He's trying to be all fired up. It's like, no, this is what he's been doing all year with this group. Is they have standards, and they're going to uphold that way, or they're not going to win the playoffs. And that is not acceptable to Mike Brown, which I dig.
Yeah, it's either they learn these lessons now or they learn it the hard way in the postseason. And I think, that's why I've found that this stretch, they can really use it as a good ramp up to the postseason. It sucks that the Kings have to play so many good teams in order to secure their spot in the postseason, but I think it's going to end up being a blessing in disguise because they're going to get real legitimate opportunities to play against real legitimate opponents. And they're going to learn where their weak spots are and how they have to play if they want to get the when they need to.
Well, much more on last night's game coming up. It's the Kings Roundtable. Deuce Mason, Morgan Reagan, Frankie Cardicelli, and Chris Watkins. We are live on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140 and always live also on SactownSports.com.
Hi guys. Oh,
How about last night? The roof was
oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
the roof was coming down, huh?
I'm glad you brought this up. So, obviously we were kind of bummed. We're like, oh man, we're not going to be at Sacramento. We're not going to be at the Kings
Bruh.
Knicks game in Sacramento.
Yeah.
We have a Stockton Kings game. I hate when they have conflicts, but whatever. So we go down there and it's like 5:30 and Morgan texts me. She goes, there's a leak from the roof. I'm like, oh, okay. And I go out there and they've got a Gatorade cooler on the court just catching drops of water. And it's classic, like, it just made me laugh because you've got like
Say
four
it.
guys standing around 90 minutes for the game, just kind of looking up like, yeah. And I'm like,
Make a decision.
make a decision. And by the way, it's raining outside. It's pouring. Like it's not going to stop, and it's not scheduled to stop anytime soon. So it's like 6:30. I'm like, there's no way they're going to play this game. Yeah. And then we get closer to 7. They finally like, yeah, we're going to have to postpone it because there was water leaking from the roof. And they were thinking about going on the roof. And I'm like, how are you going to go on the roof right now? There's wind, there's rain. It's not happening tonight. So it got postponed right around 7 o'clock. So we got back in the car, drove back to Sacramento. Thought about going to Golden One Center, but it was like...
It was so bad outside, you guys.
Yeah.
It's
that
disgusting.
It was like, okay, even if we do that, then it's going to take us like, an extra 10 minutes just to walk in there. How much of the game we're going to miss? Where we got to rewind here and then watch everything else live.
So
And listen to TNT.
no one thought to do the Lucanville and go up with the tarp and.
I think they did.
Deuce, you didn't want to do that, Deuce? You didn't
know,
volunteer?
I know this is messed up, but selfishly, I was like, well, if there's going to be a game that's postponed, tonight's a good one, just because I want to go watch
Damn.
Kings Knicks.
Very fair.
It's
Wow.
No, if there's one, I mean, I don't. If it was like there was no conflict, I would not want that.
How dare you?
Can we acknowledge the YouTube chat for being patient with us? They were on the original YouTube link. Now they're back here.
Thanks, guys.
The biggest thing you guys can do is hit the thumbs up button. This channel is doing live and local content all day, 6A to 6P, starting with the morning show with Dave and Jason. Then Chris and Co. The debut week for Chris and Co.
Yes.
From 10 to 11. Us 11 to 2, and then Cattles and Rami from 2 to 6. So hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel too. And it's not just shows. Like we're posting content after Kings games, and of course on the website SactownSports.com. There's a lot of original content that's done. Emil Fergosa covering the Niners, ton of NFL stuff. Frankie, who kills it with Kings coverage. He's going to be going to Kings practice in just a little bit to cover it. Yeah, it's nonstop for Frankie right now.
I won't be pulled out either. I have to go. I know I have to go. No one's going to come.
I don't
take
appreciate
me
that
out.
shot at Chris Watkins.
No, it's not a shot. It's a shot at Chris Watkins. He's an adult and needs to remember
yeah.
his schedule. But two, it's hilarious because I text I text Chris and Frankie, and I was like, we should start a new bit where Brian like comes in because Brian's like a super nice guy. He comes in super angry and just like takes Frankie by the shirt and drops.
Yeah, just yanks him out.
Get out of here. Get to practice, kid.
That
Do you
Trey
guys
Lyles footage is going to shoot itself.
Do you guys remember that King Sixers game that got canceled because of the leak on the floor?
Really. Yep.
Yeah.
The
That
ice.
was crazy.
The ice under the floor. I mean, I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, did they?
Oh
so
yeah.
they put the hardwood over the ice. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, they don't put the hardware directly
I
on the
don't. I
ice.
don't know. Is it
Frankie.
a dumb question?
No. Yes, it is
It's
a dumb.
not a dumb
No,
question.
it's a
No.
really dumb question.
No,
It's not
I'll
a dumb
explain-
question. It's just a
So-
dumb thought.
No.
Sure.
Frankie, so in Stockton, they used to have the Stockton Heat, which was the hockey team. and-
Ironic, right? Because you think the heat would melt the ice,
And it didn't.
Yeah.
And then they would put the Stockton Kings floor on top of it. Now, what they would do is in between, they put like something, and it's like I don't know what it's like, probably like some sort of big, thick plastic, so the ice can stay. But then the floor stuff goes on
Yeah,
top.
there's a layer in between the ice and the court.
So it's not a dumb question.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
I didn't
thought.
think it was.
Yeah.
No, Frankie, don't let me. Why are you guys like?
It's
mean to
Chris.
5
Frankie?
seconds. Yeah, I'm probably most of it.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings are now 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win over the New York Knicks last night. Kings are off tonight, and they'll be back in action tomorrow when they face the Phoenix Suns. Suns will be without their forward Kevin Durant, who the team said will be reevaluated in 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. Brock Purdy finally had his surgery to repair his ulnar collateral ligament today. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo is reporting that it was a successful surgery involving the internal brace. Doctors did not find it necessary to do a more complex reconstruction. Timetable is now about 6 months of recovery until Purdy can get back on the field. For more information on Brock Purdy's surgery, you can check out Niners insider Emil Fergosa's report on SactownSports.com. Now more of the Kings Roundtable with Deuce and Mo with Chris Watkins and that Kings Cowboy, Frankie Cardicelli.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo.
Sactown Sports.
You feel better that Brock had his surgery? Like,
Oh my, you guys, I could barely sleep last night thinking
I don't
about.
understand. Like, you don't have any connection that Brock Purdy, like, they had the surgery delayed. Like,
No, so I do, but at the same time, the timeline of this, it's not like it's Brock Purdy to start the season, so I don't give a damn. It's like we already have to start talking about a different quarterback situation for the Niners. Brock Purdy, gets better soon, but like I'm not talking about you right now. Like Matt Mayoko, like we've already talked about it with Matt Mayoko and everything. It's like we can't break that down until the dude's healthy.
I mean, there's always layer. I mean, okay,
Absolutely.
we don't need to get into this. We don't need to get into this.
I'd like to get into it.
Yeah.
Why you just like to see a little conflict,
I
don't you,
love it.
Frankie? You like to sit back and watch a little show between me and Morgan, huh? Yeah, you love drama a little bit there, Frankie.
Awesome.
Meanwhile, can't talk to starting quarterback of the Niners, but hey, let's talk about the final two-way contract spot. How's Keon Ellis looking in Stockton? Right, like.
Do you want to know? No, I'm
You
kidding.
know what I mean? Like,
Brendan Nunez would
perspective.
like to know. Brendan Nunez
Yes.
would like to know. He's a
Yes.
big
No,
Keon
and-
Ellis fan.
And I'm obviously joking, but at the same time, you guys, like we've been waiting for a Brock Purdy surgery for so long. And I'm going to guess with the resources that they have, the report of surgery went well. Yeah, I would expect it to.
Well, I mean, you say that, but in all fairness, like it was delayed because he was having issues with the swelling's not going down.
And yes.
Here's the reality, Frankie and Chris. Morgan is so like the Kings are on a playoff run right now. Nothing else matters.
Not
And I
in this
respect it.
city.
I get
respect
that.
it.
I completely
respect
get
it.
that. I was telling Chris before how much I love baseball. Deuce, I know you and I talked about baseball, how much you don't like baseball. But at this time of the year, I normally just fully immerse myself into baseball because the Kings have been bad. And this year, I haven't watched any spring training. I'm not really paying attention. Like it's kind of in the background. You know, I'm on the Kings right now. That's all I care about.
Well, let's stick on the Kings real fast. I do want to play a clip. You know, Mike Brown, his opening presser, part of the presser, he went on like a 2.5 minute rant about how he felt about last night's game. And Sean Cunningham, right when the rant was done, asked him this.
Have you felt this way after a win before this season, or is this kind of a one-off?
23 offensive rebounds. Again, you're happy for the win, but that does not sit well with me at all.
Do you feel that they're receptive to it, especially coming off of a win, emotions of a win, and then to hear a message like that? Do you feel the team is receptive to a message like that?
I hope so, because if we don't fix that, we're going to get our behinds kicked come playoff time. That's when the big boys show up.
I love this so much. I do. It fires me up. It's like, you know, we've all seen the whole coaches like tirade when they lose a game. I mean, I think Alvin Gentry did that like 4 times after he took over last year, where he was clearly frustrated. He's just like,
Understandable.
But there's a different level when you win and your coach does that publicly. Like he comes out and was really critical.
And he doesn't do it all the time.
Right.
That's the thing, you guys. He picks and chooses when it's like, at first, when he did that last night, I said to Deuce after, I was like, did he do that because it was like TNT game? Like he wanted to set a point? No, like really looking at the whole situation, it definitely wasn't that. You look at those offensive rebounds. Deuce and I went back and watched all the Josh Hart offensive rebounds just to be like, okay, what happened on every single one of these possessions? And I kept telling Deuce it was such a fundamental thing that they weren't doing. And you learn this in 5th grade basketball. Find man and then go after ball. Yes, Chris Watkins. Yes. And by finding man, it doesn't matter if you don't once look at the basket, you stare down where Josh Hart is, especially Trey Lyles when he was guarding him, and you stare him down and you never go to crash the board. You're going to put your body, bang, physical with Josh Hart. Chris, why do you
it just doesn't even matter if you get the ball either at that point. It's like your job is just to get the man. If you just make sure Josh Hart or anybody else is the guy not getting the offensive rebound, you did your job. That's it. It's really plain and simple. Like you said, it's like it's actually elementary. Like this is one of the first things you learn in basketball.
Yeah, and that's what it came down to, Mike. I mean, you look at the first half, 12 offensive rebounds. You have a chance to go in the locker room and talk about, hey, this is what we need to adjust on. This is what we need to fix. That's what halftime is for. Good teams make mid-game adjustments all the time. The Kings have done it this season. Obviously, teams ahead of them have done it as well. Knicks came out and get 11 offensive boards in the second half. And that's, to me, probably a good reason why Mike Brown really had a fire lit under him is, the one key point of emphasis was offensive rebounding. The Kings, they beat the Knicks across the board in the first half. They played good defense. The offense was locked in, and they still just got killed in the offensive glass. So, it makes complete sense. I'd be angry too.
Yeah, when Morgan was talking about going back and watching the Josh Hart stuff from last night, it was interesting because Trey Lyles would find man. He would look at man, Josh Hart, and then he'd turn around and then go toward the basket. And then Josh Hart just crashes. And, everyone knows Josh Hart's game by now.
Yeah.
And if you don't, the guy's a very good rebounder. It's not like this was just a random night where he was able to do it. He's a very good offensive rebounder too. But he still had a career high in offensive rebounds last night with 8. And it was so true. Like there were times where I'm not just picking on Lyles because he wasn't the only one, but in some of the plays you saw, you're like, Trey, why are you going toward the basket when Sabonis has his guy boxed out, Herter has his guy boxed out? You got to worry. Josh Hart is the one guy on the floor that everybody watching, everybody in their arena, all the coaches, all the players know he wants to go crash and he's been destroying you. You got to be ready to go and be physical.
He was the issue, you guys. He was the one that deflated their defense because, Frankie, you were talking about this a little earlier in the show about how the Kings were actually locked in defensively and, having some good rotations, talking it up, staying vertical, rotating out on shooters until like that third quarter when Grimes was hitting everything. Yeah. But it's like there were so many things that they were doing right. So to not do something that was so elementary correct was the most deflating and frustrating thing, I think, is most of the reason why Mike Brown was pissed.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike Brown has talked about this season before how he's a very process-oriented guy, and, I think a lot of coaches are. And so I completely understand why he was so upset. I mean, it because if you watch the game, again, like the result doesn't matter if you're process oriented. It's about how you get there and the following the right steps and doing the right things along the way. And you believe that the results will come. If you watch that game, I mean, they were playing really well for that first half. I think that they, especially in that first quarter, were following the game plan, but it just felt like as the game went on, the Knicks kind of got more and more comfortable and were able to get more and more exactly what they were trying to get. So I definitely understand why he was so frustrated, but it's going to be on the team to respond because, Mike can only yell at them so many times. And, to their credit, I think the Kings have actually done a really good job of internalizing what Mike has said and taking it out onto the floor in the following games.
A couple of comments from the YouTube chat that made me laugh. Carlos in the chat says, to be fair, that was actually Kevin Lyles, and he may not be comfortable with the King system. That's true. That's a fair point. That was not Trey. That was Kevin Lyles, according to Jamal Crawford. But I love Jamal Crawford. I don't want to pick on him, but it is bad when you mess up a name that bad. He called him Kevin Lyles last night on the TNT broadcast. Also, zombie head soldiers in the chat being very critical of Sabonis, saying he's not a fourth quarter closer.
Yes.
He leads the league in rebounding because of all his first half rebounds. And leading the league means nothing when you get dominated by Hart. Okay.
Wait,
I'm sorry. That was Sabonis is supposed to go back and watch. Okay, I know you're staring at the box score. Go watch the game and tell me what happened and did he not box out Josh Hart? Please pinpoint all the plays late in the game where he messed up something rebounding. do not be critical of the guy who's one of the best rebounders in the league this year, who is near, 9 triple doubles now, Mr. Double Double, and you're like, his fourth quarter, he doesn't take over. He doesn't have to take over because they've got De'Aaron Fox, who scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. So get out of it. Go outside. You're gonna get ejected from this chat with that type of lame stuff. Oh my god. It's not often I get hot at the Sactown Sports chat. This is usually what I do at night.
Get hot.
That is a casual clown comment. Watch the game and don't say, I do watch the game. No. It's one thing to watch. You got to understand the game. All right? Watch Sabonis and get back to me. I want you to take 15 minutes tonight. Really pay attention. Zoom in on him. Son of
Frankie, any last minute thoughts before we lose you after this break?
First of all, that was just incredible.
I'm used to it.
I completely agree, though. I mean, how could you go to Domantas Sabonis with any problems with the Kings? Look a little deeper. No, I mean, I will say that last night, again, great example of, in my opinion, winning ugly. I mean, it wasn't great in the second half. Kings pull out a win. Those are the kind of ones that you need. And I know the Saturday is coming up and I have to take off, but I'm really looking forward to Saturday. Saturday is a big game, and the Kings have a chance to put some space between themselves and Phoenix. And I was telling, I think, Chris yesterday, if you can't beat Phoenix on Saturday without Kevin Durant, I mean, when can you? I mean, that's just a thought I'm having. I mean, of course, the Kings are capable of beating anybody any given night, but I think Saturday is a really important game for them, especially if they want to have a chance at that tiebreaker. They're down 2-0 to the Suns right now. If they have a chance to tie things up, why not? But every game's big and it's a lot of fun, and I definitely will be watching games, writing recaps, blaming Domantas Sabonis for a loss when the Kings are struggling on the boards. So
there we go.
There's that lesson.
What are we doing?
No. I mean, he leads the league in rebounds. Totally.
Yeah, it's one of the more ridiculous.
Do better,
takes ever.
Domas.
Coming up next, Frankie leaves us. He's going to Kings practice, but don't get it twisted. You could read all of his stuff at sactownsports.com. He's got it covered. We are going to break. We're going to come back, wrap up with Chris Watkins on the Kings Roundtable. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports 1140 and sactownsports.com.
The roundtable becomes a triangle.
Yeah.
My mom wants to know where she can get Deuce and Mo merch. She wants me to ask you
my
right now.
God.
Go to deuceandmo.com.
There you go, Mom.
That is so... Wait, what a gem.
Yes. She's
also,
okay.
I
didn't
mean,
before then.
trust
What?
me, I mean, we don't actually have a stock of merch.
Otherwise, I would just send her, by the way. Like
she just texted me as I was about to turn the mic off, and I'm like, yeah, I'll ask them real quick. Sure. But
oh my, so cute. God,
she's the best.
I love her.
Well, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Frankie.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys Tuesday. Hopefully we're all, good to go Tuesday. So
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll be sick or something.
Yeah, I'll probably go sick again. Yeah. Maybe. And maybe now. Maybe
get your
now.
immune system up, kid.
I know.
Oh, everyone.
Liquid IV on deck. All right. See you guys later.
Vitamins.
Bye, Frankie. Chris Watkins.
Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say, how was it yesterday? Now reflecting back on being put on the spot to do a interview just randomly.
I mean, I didn't love it. I definitely did not love it, but it's gonna make me better, and that's all you guys are trying to do, and I appreciate that. But didn't love it.
You're already so good, but that's why I mean, you stepped up to the challenge. You killed it, and that's why I was just laughing why doesn't he?
Okay, so we have a thing to where the station needs to be on so you guys can hear me.
Okay.
So when we get, we kind of have to keep it like this until.
But you could just turn off the camera though, and it would go away, right?
It takes the sound away too.
What? Not going to talk.
Well,
about
can we?
No,
can
I
we
think
get rid of the.
yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
I think I hear what you're saying, dude. It's like if you just turn off if you click stop cam, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay,
but
maybe take away the overlay or something too.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I'll just keep it away until
once the show starts,
for the updates and stuff.
Gotcha.
Also, dude, Zombie, I don't know. You have to be trolling today. You have to be trolling. Talk about Sabonis missing layups. Yeah, he does miss some. Also, let's just break it down. He shoots 61%. That's very good. Okay, so let's just tap the brakes. If you're going to criticize anybody on the team, I don't know that you criticize Sabonis this year. Like, he's meant a lot to this team. Is he perfect? No. But he gets beat up constantly. He's been playing with one hand for 6 weeks now? Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, he's probably going to make an all-NBA team.
Yeah, he's going to be all-NBA third team. Yeah. All right, I'm done. I'll stop responding.
I actually I agree with maybe the concept of the idea of what he's saying. I do think I would not phrase it in the way that he phrased it. I think that the Kings do kind of tend to start the game heavily focusing on Sabonis getting points, and then
they absolutely do.
As the game goes on, they kind of let other guys, and then as the fourth quarter happens, De'Aaron takes over. And yes, he does miss a lot of bunnies, and
he's the starting pitcher, right?
Yeah,
he's the starting pitcher, man. He's setting the tone early. Then you bring in your closer.
Well, Will Z had a stat last night talking about him and his post-ups, and he's averaging a little under 3. And last night, he started off the game with 4 straight post-ups on Hartenstein, and
4-4.
I mean, yeah, and it's like someone dominating in the beginning of the game, and then someone taking over at the end. I'll take it. Get the W.
Yeah. Yep.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
It's wild. The Kings have 39 wins. And I know that doesn't seem like something you would celebrate in other NBA markets, but here it is a big time deal. I was talking to someone who works in the league because they were in town yesterday, and just talking about you realize the Kings have 8 winning seasons in their franchise history. This is a huge deal. And it was pretty cool talking to people because we have friends who work in the league and friends who are in town who, obviously aren't coming to Sacramento all the time. They absolutely loved the vibe. They were talking about the beam. It was really cool to kind of get some outside perspective on that.
Yeah, it was, Chris, I know we're people in Sacramento and we vibe off the beam and the energy, but the fact that they couldn't wait to go outside and were texting one another to be like, hey, can we meet outside? We got to see the beam. It's just, I don't know. We already know it's special, but doesn't it kind of feel like this is what people usually feel about these national teams that get all the love?
No, absolutely. And it's funny as it is, it's just we have a tourist attraction. I think that's really what it is. It's just Sacramento really hasn't ever had something that it's no, come to Sacramento and you can go, whatever. San Francisco has the ice cream museum or whatever, whatever. There's just a ton of stuff.
I just real fast.
I don't know why that's the first thing.
The first thing you say about San Francisco is the ice cream museum, not the Golden Gate.
It's a pop-up museum.
I was going to say the selfie museum too.
Not Pier 39, Fisherman's Wharf, Golden Gate Park, the Golden Gate Bridge, Baker's Beach,
I think the
Coit Tower.
I don't think the beam quite it's really great. It is a great site. I just don't know if it quite is to the level of maybe Coit Tower. Coit Tower is cool. It's not super interesting. It's a cool thing to look at, but the Golden Gate Bridge is pretty iconic. Yeah. I don't know if I put the beam to that level, but
pretty close though, right?
There's probably
Lombard Street. Thank you, Melissa. Lombard Street.
Boom, there it is. Beam
and
Lombard
also,
Street.
I don't appreciate that. Sacramento's have a tour. Hello. Hi. Old
Railroad
Sacramento.
Museum.
I'll say this: Railroad Museum
underrated.
It is.
Way
Thank
underrated.
you.
It honestly
Thank
is.
You get to learn about how terrible our history is and how everyone's a piece of crap to people. It's really mind opening.
You take that walk from Doco to Old Sac, and it's a real rough history lesson. They have that tunnel that leads right to Old Sac, and I'm like, woo! There's 6 people here who I'm don't know if we should really be.
All right.
Woo, I'm not a fan of vandalism, but
I just love that we have Sutter's Fort up and we all normalize it. This is a great, I've done that too in the past, because I didn't really understand. And then I'm like, oh God, wait. No.
Quick shout out Delta King. Anyone on the Delta King? Or?
I haven't actually been, but
I did a murder mystery thing years ago on the Delta King. Yeah,
it's not for me. It's cool. I like that it's on the water, but the bar is cool on the Delta King, but that's about it.
Oh, God.
Don't forget our state-of-the-art light rail system. You guys in the chair are killing me right now. All right, it's the Kings Roundtable. Deuce Mason, Morgan Reagan, and Chris Watkins. Coming up at noon, by the way, we're going to check in with Hunter Patterson from The Athletic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's the man.
Hell yeah.
His story that he wrote today, how cool is that he tracked down that guy, huh?
The 40-win guy, dude.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is just funny how, like, Kings fans kind of got clowned for that. And the Kings are 1 win away from 40.
Yeah.
And it's March 10th.
I know. No, it doesn't happen much, guys.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make. We're clearly living in some form of simulation.
It has to be, because we have not seen anything like this in a long ass time. What else jumped out to you guys about last night's win? We've talked about Mike Brown being upset for a while.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox taking over. Sabonis had a triple-double.
Well, Sabonis had a triple-double, but I think something else that really stood out, you guys, was the way that Malik Monk was playing in that first half. Like, he came out hot, ready, energy, really setting a tone for this team. And then you get into that second half. You don't see him as much. You see guys start to, and I'm not saying this is because of Malik Monk, but I'm saying you see guys start to settle for threes. And then on top of that, Chris, Mike Brown, to start that fourth quarter, has that weird lineup.
Yeah,
And
no Fox, no Sabonis.
How did you feel about that?
It definitely didn't make sense. Because traditionally he's done a pretty good job of staggering them throughout pretty much the entirety of the game, and usually one of them is on the floor at all times. But they did not start well. I definitely took note of that when I was taking notes in the game. I think the Knicks started on a 7-1 run to start the fourth quarter. So clearly not what Mike was hoping to get out of that. But I mean, that's another, maybe it could have been a test. Like, at some point, these guys might have to play without one of De'Aaron or Domas on the floor in a very important game. And they're going to have to try and figure it out. Like, they're going to have guys step up. And, you mentioned Malik. It was great to see him have the performance that he had in the first half, but come second half, he really did much of nothing. And so, you really want to see your guys step up in a situation where, again, like, you don't have your two stars on the floor.
Yeah, Malik, by the way, did not play much in the second half at all. In fact, in the fourth quarter, he played just 2 seconds late in the game when they needed a ball handler. So, Malik's a very passionate dude as well. I think he probably didn't like the fact that he wasn't in there, especially with what he did in the first half. And he was big. I mean, even Trey Lyles, we talk about him in the first half, but even the second half, Trey Lyles was closing this game. And, he does so much well. I think if you went back and watched some of the rebounding, as we talked about, that wasn't good, but he has come up big for this team so many times. A big shot. He hit that huge and one late too.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, MTV used to have this show called True Life where they would like do True Life. I'm obsessed with my car or something. Yeah. I have a True Life. I am scared how much I love Trey Lyles. It is like
that could get dark though. Is it like a stand thing, like an Eminem stand thing where you Trey Lyles?
It could be. Hey, there's always different levels. It's like 3 different people. We can have different levels of Trey Lyles love.
Chris pans behind him, and he's got like a whole wall shrine to Trey Lyles.
Yeah. Just like the during COVID, like they had the cutouts. I just have like 10 Trey Lyles cutouts in the back. It just feels like Trey has been incredibly consistent off the bench, especially like the last month or so. It feels like you can rely on him every single night, and he really does do just a little bit of everything. So I have no quarrels with what Trey Lyles does, and I'll live with him on. I mean, it was pretty bad last night. You guys are right, but usually he is one of the better rebounders on this team, and I think that's why Mike went to him in that situation. Keegan didn't get the run. I thought maybe Frankie actually did point out to me it was what I think they ended up going Fox, Herter, Barnes, Lyles, Sabonis.
Yeah.
Would you have liked to maybe see them go like a really big lineup of Fox, Keegan, Harrison, Lyles, and Sabonis just for the rebounding? It also felt like they really didn't have anyone to put on Julius Randle either.
Yeah, I just felt like with rebounding, it wasn't a size thing.
Nope.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
it was simply like Morgan was talking about, like be physical. And that's why I'm really interested to see how the Kings come out Saturday against the Suns, because Mike Brown called him out in that press conference, and damn well, in that post game, after the game, he did the same thing to his team because he's not going to come out and do that to the media and not do that inside the locker room. I expect I know this is we've said this far too many times. We're going to learn something. I just want to see the physicality. And this is a Suns team that obviously plays at a high level. Let's see how they respond.
But it's true, Deuce. It's every single game, you guys, has been a new lesson or a new adjustment is being made from that game. You look at that game against the Minnesota Timberwolves and all those corner threes, the open threes, and the adjustments they made the next game to, not allow that to happen so much. And I think with a game like this, when you look at a team that boxes out like that, like we're saying, it wasn't necessarily about size. It was about effort. It was about physicality. It was about seeking out the guy that keeps getting those rebounds, which, by the way, this is all a game plan that everyone knew going into this game as well. It was a point of emphasis going into this game. And the fact that not only was it not executed, but it was like awful is understandable why Mike Brown was the way he was.
Chris, we appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Seriously.
And congrats on your first week with Chris.
I know. 1 week in the books feels good. And, I'm excited for week 2. See what week 2 has in store.
Yeah, I mean, you probably this could be a start of like a 30-year run.
Oh, don't you dare put. I mean, you know what? I'll take it as long as the money.
That
comes
would mean
with it,
you'd be
I'll
like
take
an
it.
icon inside.
Yeah, right.
I would be.
I would be like a Jason Ross. That would be pretty cool.
Aww.
That's my goal one day.
You totally can because you're a really good person and you're super talented.
Okay,
so.
in all fairness, Chris, I know we like Chris.
But what's wrong with him?
He's not as nice as you think.
Oh no, I think
I agree.
Super
I
nice.
1000% agree. I am not as nice as you think.
Like Jason Ross is a gem.
Jason Ross is definitely something that you never want to lose in this city. Chris Watkins could be on his way there.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen if he has a dark side really, but he has.
Oh, he definitely does. And how do you feel about Adam Thielen? I mean, are you okay? Vikings? Or wait, no, you're a Niners fan. That's right.
Stop it. Oh my gosh. Vikings are losing all of their players in incredibly rapid fashion.
Just to be clear, you used to be a Vikings fan. Once Sactown Sports became home of the Niners, you're a Niners fan. Is that how it
You know what?
out?
Yeah, since I'm a company man, absolutely.
You're sick. That's a heel move.
Sell out.
No,
Fraud.
I swear I cannot stand the 49ers. Adam Thielen's departure does make me a little bit sad. Like he's a real, actual Minnesota kid who had to play for his hometown team. So unfortunate.
Well, Chris, enjoy your weekend, man. We'll see you next week.
I'll try. Appreciate it. Y'all too. Definitely ask Biederman about Trey Lyles. That guy is the #1 Trey Lyles supporter.
Will do.
We will. Chris Biederman's coming up at 1, but coming up next, Hunter Patterson from The Athletic will join us live. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. All right, YouTube chat. How we doing? How we doing,
YouTube chat?
Appreciate you guys.
Over 300 people live. Let's hit that thumbs up, baby.
Let's
Thank
get that
you.
to 200, please. What's up, Steven? Appreciate you being here, hanging out for a bit. 10. What's up, Johnson? Melissa?
Didn't like what Watkins said right there.
What do you mean?
He said that Biederman's the #1 Trey Lyles fan in Sacramento.
Who is you?
I believe
Are you?
I am the biggest Trey Lyles fan in Sacramento.
Chris, prove it.
Yeah.
I've been to all of his 20-point games.
Oh,
Wow, okay. That's
yeah,
it.
you
That's
bring
it.
a different kind of energy.
Then you should be at every game. Every game he scores 20.
Hey, if he gets me tickets.
You know the Kings are big when my friend who knows zero about sports is wearing a purple beanie and goes, "Light the beam, bish."
Ian says he's asking about Tom Thibodeau. He says, I've always thought it was pronounced with a hard T. Last night, BA was pronouncing it with a hard T, but Van Gundy was pronouncing it with a TH. Please sell this.
I heard that.
I did not notice that. I thought it was Thibodeau. So, Tom Thibodeau. Let's go to Knicks game notes. Let's see how if they have it. The other one that people struggle with, and I used to too when he was in the G League, they call him, like Mike Brown was calling him Hartenstein, or no, he called him Hartenstein.
Oh, yes.
Mike Brown said that it's Hartenstein, and it is Stein. It's Thibodeau. It's Thibodeau.
Yep.
Tom Thibodeau, according to the Knicks game notes.
Hartenstein. Yeah, I feel like because we had Hartenstein in G League calling some of his games. I think we always called him
Just real quick,
Hartenstein.
did you give him the new link?
I did. I think. Yeah.
Do I need a new link for Biederman?
Yeah, you want me to send that to you?
Thanks, Chris Biederman. Thanks for doing a million things.
Don't give him that much credit.
Oh,
Aaron, please.
screw you, Chris
Thank you.
Biederman.
I hope this is the right one. New StreamYard. Okay, let me just double check. I don't know, man. Twitter also acts so weird now. It's so much slower. Wonder who's to blame for that one, huh?
Oh, Deuce.
What's up, Leandro?
Spicy.
Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us today. Do you feel like we spent too much time talking about that of last night's game and stuff like that? They won on TNT last night.
No, I think with Hunter, like his story and talking about some of the good things. But I mean, like, I want to share after Hunter. I want to share the Kevin Herter audio. Like, I think the Mike Brown audio more.
It's Thibodeau.
We getting 40 wins this year. Let's go.
Why don't you play the Kevin Garnett?
I did that during a test earlier on the YouTube stream. I did the
Did
beginning.
you really?
Of it. Yeah. I was like,
Hunter's good.
We getting 40 wins this year. Let's go.
Yeah, for those who were in the building last night, was it the loudest of the year? I thought the Kings Mavs game, that overtime game, was really loud. Yeah, the Monk, dude, you guys are so funny. The Monk post game was hilarious. I thought I had it saved.
Oh yeah, did everyone notice my hair back on track?
No.
Oh.
Just kidding. Oh, this was the Monk post game that everyone was talking about. Morgan.
I love guys are so immature.
After what you did yesterday?
Yeah, Morgan, during a break. Are you serious? That was ridiculous.
There's a guy on campus.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Biederman with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings are now 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win with the New York Knicks last night. Kings are off tonight and will be back in action tomorrow when they face the Phoenix Suns. Suns will be without their forward Kevin Durant, who the team said will be reevaluated in 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. Brock Purdy finally had his surgery to repair his ulnar collateral ligament today. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo is reporting that it was a successful surgery involving the internal brace, and doctors did not find it necessary to do a more complex reconstruction. The timetable now is about 6 months of recovery until Purdy can get back on the field. For more information on Brock Purdy's surgery, check out our Niners insider Emil Fergosa's report on SactownSports.com. And now more of Deuce and Mo with our guest, Hunter Patterson.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo.
Sactown Sports.
We spent a lot of the first hour of the show talking about Mike Brown being grumpy. Mike Brown bringing us down a little bit today, huh? He's
no.
also
High
at Kings fans, too, about the Light the Beam chants, but honestly, that was kind of fair.
Love it.
We have to talk about that this hour. Plus, Kevin Herter had some interesting comments. Post-game, we'll get to. We've got a jam-packed show for you. And, yeah, I think it's appropriate to acknowledge that last night was also fun because you did get a win on national TV, and I felt like it's good for the national audience, and there was a lot of eyeballs on it because they were playing the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that Fox did his thing in the fourth quarter. It's been talked about all year long, like Fox in the fourth quarter. You see it on social media, but doing it on TNT last night, 15 points, and then you think of what he did in the first few minutes of that fourth quarter.
Show the world.
That was big time stuff.
Yeah, I love what he had to offer, especially because how many times have we defined him as Mr. Clutch, the guy that's coming up big at the end of a game, and the fact that he did it on the biggest stage was so fun to show off. But the other thing was, it was interesting because I think the other person that gets love for his late game performances are Jalen Brunson, who we didn't even talk about, didn't even play in the second half, right? I think it would have been fun to see those two battle it out, go back and forth with one another in that fourth quarter. But at the same time, the way that the Kings were playing in the third, if Jalen Brunson was in there as well, I think things would have gotten a lot more scary.
Well, let's talk more about last night. Let's talk more big picture with the Sacramento Kings. Welcome in a guy who just put out a new story that just came out about the Kings approaching 40 wins.
Wow.
And he talked to the guy from Summer League that dropped the 40 wins, man.
Yes.
He writes for The Athletic. He's the one and only Hunter Patterson. How you doing, Hunter?
I'm doing well. I appreciate y'all having me.
Dude, of course, man. How's everything going?
Everything's been going pretty well. I was nervous for a little bit for the Kings last night, but they did what they needed to.
Yeah, it got really, really close. What was your reaction listening to Mike Brown post game?
I mean, he's obviously not as pleased as fans might be, but that is kind of what you want in a head coach, trying to get a team to, I guess, the promised land and contending for a title.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I think it was at first I said to Deuce, I was like, is he doing that because TNT is there? Like what made him so not satisfied with that win? And then when you look back at a few things, you can really break down the flaws that were super deflating. Not on a night when they win and it's like, oh, okay, those things they can do better and grow from. The things that they did last night were super deflating. I think they have different expectations for this team, I'm sure, but I'm going to ask you, have your expectations for this team changed since the All-Star break?
I think it's pretty on par still. I've been really high on them. I'm in a group chat with a few of my friends, and I kind of play like best case, worst case scenario games.
Let's play one. Do you have one right now?
So I'm like, I was like, what do you guys think absolute best case is for the Kings this season? And one of my friends, he's well versed in basketball. He's just a bit of a hater. He was like, I think probably first round in the playoffs. That's like best case. I'm like, bro, I actually think that they can be competitive in the playoffs.
When did you say this?
This was around All-Star break. This was
okay.
I'm no Sean Chu by anything. So this was like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you mentioned Sean Chu, and for those who don't know the name, he is the Kings fan. Remember the group of Kings fans at the California Classic in San Francisco, and they were all fired up after the California Classic, and they were walking out and dropped this.
We getting 40 wins this year.
We are getting 40 wins this year. Let's go. And they got clowned a little bit on social media.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
they
oh my
did.
God, Sacramento, really? 40 wins? But it's kind of crazy. Here we are on March 10th, and the Kings are 1 win away from 40 wins. When you did your latest piece on The Athletic, what was it like catching up with Sean?
It was cool. I enjoy kind of stories that are really based on curiosity. And I had seen it over summer, and I thought it'd be a pretty cool idea to catch up with him if they ended up being anywhere close to what he said. And so I wanted to kind of talk to a few people who might have experienced some highs and lows. So I was really glad to be able to catch up with G-Man, Katie, and obviously a few of the guys on the team.
How fun is it too, after catching up with some of those people that have experienced the highs and the lows, hearing the lows of the lows, and then I guess experiencing with them the highs of the highs. I mean, it's got to feel good to talk to people that are good people that are finally getting to feel this.
Yeah, I mean, I realize how fortunate I am. This is my first time really being this involved, and I've been an NBA fan my entire life. But as you mentioned, these are people who have seen really low lows, and this is my first opportunity to be this involved with the team. So for me, it's almost like just being able to appreciate the season even more. Kind of hearing G-Man say that, like, every now and then it can kind of get a little deflating when the other teams are more competitive than the one you're covering. So it just makes me appreciative of the team, front office, everyone, and the things that they're doing and the joy that they're bringing to the people in the city.
It's kind of crazy that I got chills when he was saying that, because Hunter, you're kind of the outside. You're from the outside. You're coming in here and feeling these vibes, and it connects with you. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Bay Area, but I can't say I'm real like Sac.
Yeah.
So it's cool to kind of get this first experience and see how great the fans are.
So last night, Kings on TNT, we already talked about Mike Brown being disappointed in his team after a win on national television. What stood out to you about last night and some of the good things?
Some of the good, I think this team is meshing probably about as well as you can at this point in the season, which is you offensively. I'll say that because I'm going to get to the boards later, but yeah, I think that they're really comfortable. Mike, I think, gives players a ton of confidence, and you can kind of just see that everyone believes that they can be the guy on any given night, and there's not, again, to like kind of the cohesiveness of this unit. There's no like hating or like, oh man, this guy had 20. I had 20 last game, but I didn't get as many shots. So they really seem close, and I think it's more personality things, I guess, for me than X's and O's.
Yeah, I think that's a huge positive for the group is that they are connected. And I did think it was interesting going away from the rebounding for a second that Brown was mentioning Fox and Sabonis too and putting more on them. Like he's put them over a lot.
Yeah.
Like the way he talks about Fox and Sabonis, he's said recently they're both all NBA guys. Yeah, they made the All-Star team, but they're all NBA guys. But last night after the game, he kind of called them out. Like, you need to be the guys holding people accountable. De'Aaron Fox, you had 1 rebound in the first half. You had 3 in the game. You have to be better, but you also have to hold your guys accountable. And I think it's really interesting to see how Mike Brown maneuvers through this as he has set the culture now, but now expectations are raising. They want to actually make some noise in the playoffs, and he's making sure to challenge his best players.
Yeah, and I think I'm torn a bit also because there are really less than desirable non-Fox and Sabonis minutes. But then there are guys I do appreciate coming off the bench like Trey Lyles. He's someone who's been so consistent that I hold him almost to expectations similar to starters because Malik's been up and down a bit, but he's been playing well late. So there's Davion's even if he's not got it, if he doesn't have it going offensively, he's definitely going to get you on defense. So I think the bench unit has been pretty big too.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned Trey Lyles, or as they said on TNT halftime show, Kevin Lyles. Just not understand. It shows you too where the Kings are still with like national media. I know it's Jamal Crawford.
Every game they're on TNT this year, they mess up a name.
You're gonna run to a board and break down their game. You're specifically told, or you told producers that you're gonna talk about a person, and you still mess up the name. Anyway, Trey Lyles though.
I love Jamal Crawford, so I have a hard time like hating on the guy.
Oh, I don't think that's hate, even when I say that. I think I can criticize you not getting a Kings player. It's, you know what I mean? Like Charles Barkley doesn't try. Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, he's known for that.
Yeah, exactly. But Trey Lyles and his contributions off the bench, obviously on the offensive end, but I think the defensive end at times, what he's been able to add, especially as that small ball 5 at times, and to step up and show a lot of strength. What do you like so much about Trey Lyles coming off the bench?
I think for one, he's a real pro because there was a point in the season where he wasn't seeing as many minutes. So he was prepared for this opportunity, and he's just versatile. You mentioned it in him being kind of like a small ball 5 to stretch the floor. And I think it gives the second unit just more space out there when, Trey is like money at this point from the corners. And so he's naturally going to kind of bring people with him. So he has more gravity than you might expect from a bench player, but he's going to occupy someone who's supposed to be in the paint. So there's going to be more space there.
You had some thoughts on rebounding from last night. I went back and watched some of it this morning, just Josh Hart's offensive rebounds. And man, it was just sometimes you're like, okay, is a guy just out hustling, whatever? It's like, no, like Josh Hart is obviously a good rebounder. We know this, but there was just fundamentally like no physicality, no boxing out. It was pretty bad stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sure y'all remember going back to like middle school. That's like first thing you do. Like you put a body on someone and then you look to the ball. But I mean, it is credit to Josh Hart. He's like one of the Villanova guys and someone who comes from like that cloth of just tough players who do those things and really prioritize offensive rebounding. But I did think that there was a bit of lack of effort, and I don't know if that's because we're so focused on trying to get down on the other end of the floor or whatever that may be. But it's not for lack of talent, size. They are a bit undersized, but that hasn't been a problem when they've actually seemed engaged in that area of the game.
Hunter, you hooped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what position? Point guard?
Yeah, I wish I had I was a little bit taller, but I'm not.
I mean,
Are you
same.
taking a shot at his
No,
height?
no. Because I was.
No, I did not take it that way.
I was a point guard, and I was, a 5'5" point guard, and I knew though, night in and night out, that if I had a scrappy little point guard that would find a way to that was a big rebounder though, and was one of those ones that was going to be fast, be explosive, and have a nose for the ball, especially when they would miss a shot and it'd be a long rebound. Like my only job on the defensive end, especially because I was slow laterally, would be like, I'm going to make sure she cannot get this rebound.
Right.
And I felt like that pride wasn't there with Josh Hart after the fourth offensive rebound he got. And I think that's where like Mike Brown had every right to be pissed off because it was so elementary.
Yeah. And I think that is a great point because there's like overall, everyone loves the Kings. They're a really likable team, but there's no one on their team that isn't likable, which could kind of, you might need, I mean, everyone's been watching Dylan Brooks and Draymond. You might kind of need a player like that on your team to hold people accountable.
I do not want Dylan Brooks.
Well, yeah,
in the same area as the Sacramento Kings.
I mean,
guy's a
like
clown.
Guys who's
I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, it's that toughness. You need someone that's got a little edginess.
That will piss somebody off. Yes.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
That's a great point though, because I've thought about that a few times. It would have been great to have kind of had like an enforcer, I guess, on the team.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, it is pride. Like, I'm not about to let you get 10 offensive rebounds on me.
Thank you.
Morgan, could you imagine?
What?
Could you imagine if the Kings had a player with my rebounding mentality?
Oh, Deuce would have.
That's what we need.
No, Hunter, I honestly, I have nothing good to say about Deuce on a basketball floor except his effort. And truly, I think he could have stopped Josh Hart from getting rebounds because you would have been like, I have one job and I am going to box your ass out of here and not allow you to get rebounds.
I know you sound like you're exaggerating by that. I'm 100% getting a rebound from Josh Hart.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm honestly being serious.
All right, can we talk about something good? We keep going back to this rebounding thing. The Kings won the game.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's the one issue that we can focus this much on, I think that's kind of overwhelming.
I know we've seen it so often this year. Your colleague Anthony Slater over at The Athletic did a piece on the Kings game last night too, detailing kind of Fox in crunch time and even early in that fourth quarter. It's crazy. Here he is again, 15 points in the fourth quarter. And as good as Josh Hart was rebounding, he could not. He got absolutely cooked by De'Aaron Fox last night. Hunter, what do you think of what Fox was able to do?
I think he's in a space where he doesn't think anyone can guard him, and rightfully so. And I've asked him before, like, why can't you do this for the rest of the game? Because that's unrealistic. But I really think, and based on the way he responded and everything, there's something about the fourth quarter that he loves. He loves crunch time. He loves the biggest moments of the game, and he performs his best at those times.
I think what De'Aaron Fox has been able to do and how he's been able to elevate his game has just been mind-blowing to see it take this leap in this 1 year with some new coaching, with some new leadership around you. How much do you think Mike Brown, the coaching staff, and empowering him to do more has really helped him find a way into a new tier of point guards in the NBA?
I think it's been huge. And I think just there's been so much inconsistency at that head coach position for De'Aaron's career. And for him at this point, people would hope that Mike Brown is someone who will be stable here and here for a minute. So I think that they're looking at it as more of a partnership a little bit, where you see sometimes after post game, Mike says, De'Aaron looked me off a few times and he kind of just went to do this on his own. So there's like a certain level of trust that I think De'Aaron and Mike have reached that probably De'Aaron has never had with any other coach.
I know you're big on Keegan Murray based on the last conversation we had with you. And it seems like since we talked, we're starting to see more of the things that you thought he had in his bag. He's putting the ball on the floor. His defense has been pretty strong too. What has stood out to you with Keegan as of late?
I think he's kind of just starting to be more consistent, as you said. Like for me, I know at least he might not end up with 7 to 10 rebounds every game, but he'll be there. And if he's not going to grab a board, he might be able to tap it to someone else. And just little effort plays that I don't know if we were seeing as consistently are starting to be kind of the norm for him. So that's showing up, getting a few more assists here and there, more boards, might get a steal or block. Because we know the scoring is pretty consistent when he wants to do that.
You know, it's interesting on a game like last night, and we've seen a game like this before where Mike Brown isn't playing him after a certain amount of time, or it's just like, hey, short leash. I don't know about you, Hunter, but for me, I feel like it doesn't really affect his confidence, and instead he tries to find a way to always bounce back or get better from that experience.
Yeah, it's I mean, again, it's just like the whole unit here is like very trusting while also being like there's like a certain level of holding each other accountable. So it's like a twofold type thing where I think everyone knows that they can do their thing and call certain plays here and there, but at the end of the day, like we ultimately trust each other and hold each other accountable for whatever is going on out there.
So in the post-game press conference when Monk and Fox were up there and Monk had that line where he's like, I know how to turn on Fox, and everyone started laughing. Did you laugh, or did you keep
Great
it like,
question.
were you like, that's
No, I definitely laughed. And
okay, yeah, good.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, those dudes have been friends since like teens and forever, so they're pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, Hunter, dude, thank you so much for hopping on. I encourage everyone to check out his latest piece on The Athletic. The Athletic doing more Kings content now. What do you know, man?
What do you know?
Hey, the fans want it. It's an interesting story. There's a lot of cool stories to tell. They're covering it there. Hunter, keep up the great work, man. And hopefully we see you at a game soon.
Likewise. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye,
Hunter Patterson from The Athletic here on Sactown Sports. Yeah, great guy, man.
I seriously, I'm so glad that I finally met him in person at a game, and I love his
vibe?
Yes.
Demeanor?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just such a vibe.
His voice?
Oh my gosh, all of it. And his writing, his work as well.
I wish I had his voice. And I know I understand what you're thinking. Deuce, your voice is borderline perfect.
No.
Why would you want someone else's voice? You just
his voice is soothing.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
voice is like, ah.
Mine is like, dude, that's a sexy.
No, it's
sexy
like,
man.
ah.
No, it's
Like,
my voice is
like I need a Mo's minute, anxiety attack.
Are you serious?
Ah.
You listen to the bass in it. Hey, what's up?
Okay,
You hear that?
Are you trying to be Hunter?
Hey. You want me to work on my Hunter?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, that's
I
like
can't.
you
I
were
don't
just
have
about
one.
to add a Keegan into that.
Yeah, you knew. Like I'm Keegan. I'm cool. Like I'll play whenever.
I thought Keegan Murray was back at the station right now.
Yeah.
Actually,
Is he? No, I don't
Is
think,
he?
No, I don't think Keegan's here.
Oh
right
yeah, I stepped out over here. I've been working on stuff outside the basketball to further my career.
Thanks, Keegan 3.
3. Oh my God.
Well, hey, we're gonna take a break here. Coming up next, we still need to play Kevin Herter stuff.
Yes,
because he had some interesting comments about Mike Brown. Mike Brown won Coach of the Year last night.
Oh,
is that truth or trash?
Can I say it? Oh,
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Or trash.
Yeah, it's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com. If Deuce would stop drinking energy, he might be tolerable. I'm not actually drinking. I don't drink energy drinks.
God,
This is
no.
actually a liquid death, and it's water. It's sparkling water. That's it. I don't mess with it. My energy drink would be an Americano, double shot. Let's go. I'll be right back.
Bye.
By the way, Chris Biederman coming up at 1.
Hell yeah, to Chris Biederman. Oh my God, everyone's doing it.
Can I be? Only fools hold it in, 'cause I can't help having an accident.
Somebody said that I need to do an Aretha Franklin one, and I think that will come out Monday when we're back in studio.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, they just said it, but I'm like, brain thinking about so many things like pee and bathroom and accidents.
Is it going to be Tinkle?
Oh,
My little Bubba got up when I got up.
okay.
That's how I talk to my dog. Look at Carlin's back is getting better, huh, Bubba? Oh, you miss your dad.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, let's be honest, guys. Carlin, how cute?
What a cutie.
How cute is Carlin?
So cute. I can't with your stupid little face.
Deuce, why is his name Carlin? It's a great question.
Nobody asked. Nobody
I think Jim
asked.
said Carlin ? So maybe he is named after George Carlin. George Carlin.
So freaking cute. What a doll.
Stop it. Stop it.
Sweet ass dog.
How does he like your barking? Oh, he likes my. Oh, look, listen to his snorting. What do you smell, man? Oh, okay. You're just a happy boy, aren't you?
Won't break long. Here you guys go. Dog and Deuce.
Look,
Dog and Deuce.
I could be nice, you know? I could be a nice guy. I'm a dog dad.
Okay, just because you're nice to your own dog does not mean that you're a good person.
You know,
There's a-
Hitler was nice to his dog.
And he also named his dog Carlin.
No. Not funny.
That's not funny. Oh my God, that's awful. What? Wait, Trevor said I got drunk with George Carlin once. Epic day drinking. Trevor,
Oh, wow.
are you serious? That is a cool story that I want to hear.
George Carlin, what an icon. What a legend. You know why I named him Carlin?
Because of George Carlin.
No, but the connection. There's a connection here. There's a story. What do they call it? French bulldogs? They said it's like they look like I'm too tired to do
No,
this.
it was
A
there's
loaf
some-
of bread that's
Yes.
No, they
like
have
the
like a
breed.
personality like a clown. They're funny or something. Right?
I need to look it up. That's what it is. A clown in the cloak of a philosopher.
Oh,
That's their expression. And
I love that
needed-
you said, you know why I named him?
Yeah.
It's
No,
because
He
Chris, I
tired.
got 4 hours of sleep last night. I think I've averaged about 4 hours of sleep this week.
Yeah, this has been a rough one. I've said that every week now. Probably not healthy.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
think we'll be having a guest near playoff time that can help all of us with our
Oh,
anxiety.
yes.
Namaste.
I can't wait.
Namaste.
I think we should do like on the stream yoga during that time.
Yeah. Any type of like physical thing would probably be really good for me at this
Oh yeah,
point in time.
I haven't done anything like exercise since I started this job. I'm okay.
I saw Frankie Cardicelli over at sactownsports.com. Of course, you can read his stuff.
Yeah.
He put something out that was interesting. He says Basketball Reference's playoff probability report gives the Kings a 100% chance of making the playoffs and a 72.9% chance of winning the Pacific Division.
Dude.
538 they're always right. Gives the Kings a 98% chance of making the playoffs. So
I just realized I need to send this new link to Chris Biederman. Guys and dolls. We are nothing but a bunch of guys and dolls.
what's that from?
I don't know. Isn't it from like a musical called Guys and Dolls or something?
No idea.
Oh, let me look. Guys and Dolls. Oh, it's a movie. 1955.
It's also a musical.
It is a music. Okay. Guys and Dolls. We are nothing but a bunch of guys and dolls. Because that's what they called women.
I'm not sure if that's in that movie.
Oh, really? I don't know. Maybe it's like The Simpsons I saw it on. I don't even know.
Childish was like, now I have to Google to see who George Carlin is. Yeah, I mean, just YouTube some of his
5
stuff.
seconds.
He's got some great stuff. Stand by. We have an update, then back to us.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rillato with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings are now 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win over the New York Knicks last night. Kings are off tonight. They'll be back in action tomorrow when they face the Phoenix Suns. Suns will be without their forward Kevin Durant. The team said will be reevaluated in 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. Brock Purdy finally had his surgery to repair his ulnar collateral ligament today. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo is reporting that it was a successful surgery involving the internal brace, and doctors did not find it necessary to do a more complex reconstruction. The timetable is about 6 months of recovery until Purdy can get back on the field. For more information on Brock Purdy's surgery, check out the Niners insider Emil Fergosa report right here on SactownSports.com. Now more of Deuce and Mo.
Live and local.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Watch the show now on YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Or
Oh, yeah, that's
free on the Sactown Sports app.
That's the place to be as I cut it off. Thanks, big announcer guy. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. The chat is a poppin'. You can get in there and chat, talk with other fans as we reflect on last night's Kings win over the New York Knicks, 122-117. The Kings are 13 games above 500. Morgan, Reagan, they've got 39 wins.
39 wins.
On their way to 40 soon.
Holy 40.
That is insane, and the Kings are rolling out of the All-Star break. It wasn't perfect last night, obviously, but they got the job done. We mentioned Mike Brown not being happy after the game. Here's a portion of his opening statement, by the way.
It's a good win. Our guys found a way to get the win, but we were not good. I was extremely disappointed in our inability to box out, let alone rebound. Josh Hart just kicked our ass.
Woo!
He kicked our ass. Nobody put a body on him the entire night. I thought their physicality was great because it made us go one-on-one quite a bit throughout the course of the game and made us take difficult shots. I thought we didn't get a chance to get out in transition, because we couldn't come up with the rebound to get out to run and put pressure on them, so they had us playing a slow, walk-it-up paced game. And they were the ones that got out in transition. They outscored us 23-7. I mean, you could tell I'm a little frustrated. It's a great win. You take wins at this time of the year, but that's not how we should be playing basketball, what you guys saw tonight. I am not happy with our performance at all, except for the fact that we got the win. Somehow, some way, we have to be better throughout the course of the ball game. I'm going to put pressure on Domas and Foxy. They have to hold themselves to an elite level on every possession, but just as importantly, they got to open their mouths and hold their teammates to a high standard, because that ain't going to fly. Give the Knicks a lot of credit. Good ball club. Tibbs done a heck of a job with them. They're physical. They try to play the game the right way. You feel them throughout the course of the game. We're taking this win, but we got to be better. And it starts with Domas and Foxy. They got to open their mouths, and they got to challenge their teammates to perform each possession at an elite level. But they have to do it themselves on both ends of the floor.
Wow, Mike Brown, a standing ovation from the live chat right now on YouTube and Kings fans around the world. Morgan, that's as real as it gets. If I just played that clip and I'm like, hey, we're going to take out like who won or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, they lost the game for sure.
Yeah.
That to me speaks volumes about who he is as a coach. That's why he won Coach of the Year. He sealed it last night. If there's any doubt, this guy coaches his ass off. He could have come in. It would have been so easy for him last night to do the cheap pop. Like, hey, I'm so proud of our guys, national TV. We fought. We won the game, blah, blah, blah. No. And that wasn't phony either.
That's
like, you could
what
see
I
it.
love.
When Mike Brown did the, I've got my glasses on, takes them off with the one hand, like he's getting serious in his post game, that's when you know he's heated. His voice is a little shaky. That's when you know he's heated. I love the fact that he's not afraid to call his guys for the rebounding, and he's not afraid to put something on Fox and Sabonis as the best guys to be better.
Well, what you saw during the broadcast, the TNT broadcast, during the game with that in-game interview with Stephanie Reddy, you saw Mike Brown a little bit more himself, like cameras on, like, yeah, we're not putting a body on anybody, but we got to put a body on somebody. And then post-game, you would have thought that they got the loss, just like you're saying, because of the way that he was speaking to the media after a win. And I'm with you, though. I loved it. I thought it was genuine. I thought, there's times, that we've seen Mike Brown try to stick up for his guys with the challenge, or try to stick up for his guys with the way that he'll talk post game. But this was challenging his guys with tough love that they need to take the next step as we get closer and closer to a postseason. Because he's talked about the playoffs, and he's exactly right. That crap ain't gonna fly.
Well, after the game, I was interested to hear players' perspective. They went in the locker room after the game. Frankie Cardicelli, our Kings insider, alongside Chris Watkins, went into the Kings locker room. You could watch the full Kevin Huerter interview on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. And Kevin Huerter was asked about Mike Brown and his message to the team after the game.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously wasn't happy. Offensive rebounds, I think, were obviously a big issue tonight. I thought our initial point of attack defensively, I thought for the most part we're fine, we're solid, and just got to finish possession. So he's just trying to build us up. We got bigger and better things hopefully on the horizon, and these type of performances down the stretch here, and hopefully into the playoffs just won't get it done. And so he'll let us know. He's not wrong, but at the end of the day, a win's a win.
Well, was it a little surprising to hear, given, it was a loud atmosphere, and Fox goes off in the fourth quarter? It seemed like the team was in a good mood. Was it kind of surprising to come back and get that message from everybody?
He expects the best out of us. He has all year. You could feel it in the game. Obviously, those possessions, there was more than one where it just felt like we couldn't get a rebound. And so he expects the best. Like I said, there's bigger and better things hopefully on the horizon for us, and he's just making sure we don't hold ourselves back from getting there.
Kevin, is there a different level of accountability this season than any time in your career?
For sure, yeah, for sure.
You feel it from Mike all the time. Does that wear on you guys ever, or you guys just kind of take it in stride and try to get better every day?
No, it's now that's the culture. That is. There's no excuses. Like, maybe it was a shock in the first month or two of the season, and then it's one of those things. Like, that's how he coaches. It's he's going to stay honest. We're going to get better over the course of the year. He's making sure that we continue to learn and get better. We're still a young team, and now that's the expectation. It's we know what our days look like, our schedules look like, what film session is going to be like. We know when we're, lack of a better word, we know we're up. But he's going to let us know.
Wow. I love it. And this is not a surprise last night. It may have surprised us and fans, like, wow,
Sure.
He lit him up after the game. Not a surprise to those guys.
And that's what I love. They're not taken back. They're not like, oh my God, screw this, whatever. It's more they understand that if they want to win, this is the leadership, this is the guy, this is the voice, the standards that is going to take them to the next level. That level of understanding a culture is just, it's incredible. It's incredible, Deuce, because there hasn't been anything here for so long, and the fact that it just took this leap like this year. Not even the win-loss total, but this culture is just wow.
And now we're not just talking about the first round, Morgan Reagan. We're not just talking about the second round. You guys act low. Talking about maybe Western Conference Finals? It's not outrageous. The West is flawed. We've got so much more to get to. We also have story time with Christopher Lott. I think we need to bring to the table coming up next. And top of the hour, Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee does a great job covering the Kings. We will talk to him about last night. You actually heard him in that clip with Kevin Carter. It's Deuce and Mo. We're on 11-2 right here on Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com. Oh, hey, chat. By the way, YouTube chat. All right, we appreciate you guys being in there. Like, let's just keep it civil between each other. We're all here to have kind of a cool environment, so let's not get any personal attacks going or anything like that. I don't want to put people on timeout like that. You guys are adults, so let's just be cool in here. All right, appreciate you guys.
It's a happy time in Sacramento, and I'm gonna need you to be nice to one another. And if you're not, I'll block your butt.
Can you give me some range? Like you're doing a little Whitney in that or no?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You suck.
If you're not nice to one another, I won't let you in the chat. No. If you're not nice to one another, I will get the virtual bat.
What's a virtual bat?
I don't know.
You don't want to know. I'll knock your ass out of the park.
You're talking about like Floyd, right? Chris Jericho's?
Yes, yes.
Is it Floyd or wait, did I mess that up?
No, it's Floyd.
Oh, it is Floyd.
Oh my God, that was such an awful song. I need like a music, something to go along to.
Also, De'Aaron Fox, man. It was just so cool to see him take over, go in attack mode. He was outrageous. And we've said that a lot this year, but dude, he's doing this so often. Slater had something today in The Athletic, this updated stat. Fox leads the NBA with 169 clutch points this season. Nobody else in the league has more than 131. He's 64 of 115 shooting in those result-altering moments. So, dude is doing it all the time. It's a thing now. You know, like you got Dame time.
Yeah.
What's Fox's thing? Fox's fourth. I don't know.
I just call
that was
him
really smooth, dude.
Yeah. I just call him Mr. Clutch.
That's so lame.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is anyone else Mr. Clutch?
Yes, there is a famous Mr. Clutch.
Jerry West.
Oh yeah, no.
Mr. Clutch, who
literally said
lost to Game 7 and won the Finals MVP.
Oh, wayo.
Okay.
Mr. Fourth Quarter? No, because that was like Isaiah Thomas.
Captain Clutch? I don't know. We got to do better, man.
King Clutch.
I like King Clutch.
No. Although there's a play in there, King Clutch, because you spell Clutch with a K because he is represented by Clutch too. It all comes together.
And he's a king.
The Clutch King.
Good, Chris.
Clutch
Good.
King. Clutch
And
King
he's a
with
king.
a K. With a K.
He's the Clutch King.
See, I still remember some
Okay.
ASL.
All right. Do we like this? All with a K though. All with a K.
I think it should be something like Game Over or something like that.
Oh.
Like once he's on the floor, it's done.
Hey, Chris, are you ready for a story time coming up?
I'm always ready for a story time.
Hell yeah.
That's the
Story time with Chris Biederman. What are you laughing at, Mark?
Frankie posted an Instagram story and it just says work in parentheses. And I think it's just all like me, you, and Chris Watkins, like when you're yelling. Being good old Deuce.
How do you get a picture of Deuce yelling?
Well, he got a video. Like he videoed himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare. Here we go.
Mo on Sactown Sports.
Man, happy Friday. Let me just say selfishly, I'm so glad it's Friday. I don't have tomorrow off or anything. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, for me to have a whole night off and into tomorrow off.
I have to drive to San Francisco in the morning.
That's cool, though. You're going to be on
Oh, I love it.
Pregame live with you and Drapes tomorrow, huh?
Me and Drapes. I'm the analyst, and I'm super excited about it. God, I should see after the show.
Yeah?
I need to do some breakdown tape and send to them.
Good call.
Yep.
Good call. We'll talk some more Kings and NBA coming up at 1 p.m. Chris Biederman from the Sacramento Bee doing a great job covering the team this year. He'll join us live. But it's Friday. We need some Christopher Laud vibes. It's time for a little story time.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
It's that time of the day where Christopher Laud gives you the stories that you need to hear. Or maybe not. It's story time.
Story time with Christopher Laud.
Baby!
What do you got, good
Chris?
news.
Yeah.
Nobody died.
Okay.
Wow.
And I would say mostly positive.
Well,
Mostly
we'll
positive.
be the judge.
Okay. So how about we start in Toronto, Canada?
Sure.
This comes from the Toronto Sun. So how would you guys like to eat a basic steel stapler and mini dry erase board with a non-slip rubber mouse pad?
No, thank you.
No?
Yeah,
I'm
no.
gonna pass on that today. I ate.
Okay. Well, that's on the menu at Good Fortune Burger. The order I gave you was originally the Diamond Chicken Burger with fries and a bottle of Coke. The restaurant is calling this the recast menu, and they're asking customers to expense this, eat this. So the names on the orders, they want to get the offices to pay for the customers' lunches. So it looks on the receipt, it's a stapler and a mouse pad, but it's really food. So they're trying to get the companies.
But doesn't it just say the restaurant at the top? Do they change the name of the restaurant?
They changed the name of the restaurant on the receipt as well.
Wait.
So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's great because these companies have.
That's awful, actually.
Why?
Cool. Oh, you just submitted, like, how many staplers do you need in a month?
Well, okay, that's where they're gonna, like, if it's Staples to refill the stapler, maybe it's more common. But then again, we have digitized a lot of things.
Like, wait, how many staples did you go through? Why did you buy 17 mouse pads this month?
Yeah, and
you're fired.
Yeah, well, that too.
Well, that's why you got to be smart.
Well, I would say the whole concept is not very smart. But what I like about it is that companies don't give a damn about you. So make sure that you are getting all your money out of them.
Morgan, anti-corporation talk.
Hello.
I'm with you, Morgan.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Cincinnati, Ohio. This is WHIO TV.
Is that the home of John Moxley? Oh,
It is the home of John Moxley.
Oh.
He's
So, and you might find out why it's the home of John Moxley.
Okay.
So first there was Cocaine Bear. Now there's Cocaine Cat.
Oh.
That's what residents of a Cincinnati neighborhood found out. On January 28th, Hamilton County dog wardens were called to reports of a leopard being spotted in a tree in Oakley. It was not a leopard, but a serval, which is a wildcat native to Africa, and it is illegal to own in Ohio. They did tests on the cat for its health and it did test positive for exposure to cocaine, according to the Cincinnati Animal Care.
That's so sad.
So sad.
So the Hamilton County dog warden said the cat's owner was cooperative in the investigation, and they're not pressing charges at this time. The cat is now being cared for by the Cincinnati Zoo, and information on how the serval was exposed to cocaine was not available.
I mean, we can figure this out. A drug lord that wanted this illegal animal exotic animal at their house had a whole bunch of drugs. The cat got into drugs, escaped.
Here's a problem that
What?
you guys just want to push aside.
What?
The cat's in on this.
Oh,
it's
those cute things.
Yeah, like let's swallow that. It's transporting cocaine probably, and got into it a little bit.
Really? The cat has a drug
Our
problem?
cat's not smart.
I don't think they're that smart. They're independent.
I don't trust that cat. You look at that thing.
I did reach out to my sources in Cincinnati, and apparently this cat was most likely from Kentucky, where it is legal to own this, but not legal to own in Ohio.
Whoa. Why is it legal to own this exotic animal in Kentucky?
That's Kentucky.
God, Kentucky's
It's amazing what they allow in Kentucky and what they decide to ban in Kentucky. Right, Chris?
I don't think they ban a lot of things in Kentucky.
I can think of one big thing.
I can think
of a huge one.
I think they like cats over women over there. Okay, let's just keep it there, huh?
All right. Would you guys like to go back to Canada?
Yes.
I love Chris moves on so fast. Yes, Chris.
Hanover, Ontario, Canada. This is CTV News. We've all heard the same thing growing up. Don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah.
Good advice, right?
Yeah. Great advice.
A man was said to be seen offering a boy a box of pot of gold chocolates. The boy declined, but the man insisted he give them to his mom if he didn't want them. Police then found the man and interviewed him and determined that his intentions were genuine and pure. Apparently, the man was motivated by random acts of kindness day and handed out chocolates to people of varying ages. And this wasn't just a trick to trick a kid.
Yeah. Random act of kindness is not force feeding me chocolate. Here's the thing. If I say no, thank you, you go, oh, okay. I'm going to go chase someone else now. You don't go, no, take this and give it to your mom.
Sounds like a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. One, never take candy from a stranger. Don't take food from any stranger ever. Like, what do you think people do nowadays?
Never?
They're weird. Never. No, never.
Like,
Not from any stranger.
Say you're like at an arena or a stadium or something and you see some fries just sitting there. Are you not supposed to have some?
I mean, sitting there, or are you going and purchasing them yourself?
They're just sitting there.
No.
What if they're just, you shouldn't eat them?
Deuce, yeah, what would you do?
Thing, okay, I know this is a callback. So if you're at a baseball game,
This
and
is
let's
so-
just say,
so weird.
Let's just say you witnessed a person leave behind some garlic fries. Is it weird that after they leave and just leave it because they're gone, that you eat their garlic fries?
Yes, it is weird. Like their fingers have, you don't know where their fingers have been.
Yeah, but you don't like the way you eat. You don't like just grab them all over. Like,
Oh, some people like pretend this is a like bucket of fries. Like they like do this, so they're
like
touching
the classic bucket of fries. Yeah. I know what you're saying. When you go to a game, you get a Home Depot size bucket of fries. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's acceptable to eat that at a game.
Chris,
I agree with Deuce.
Thank you.
I may have done it from time to time.
Yeah.
were you guys?
It's free food.
Were you partaking in alcoholic beverages?
No.
But and by the way, would not do that for beer, any type of liquid. I wouldn't
Yes,
like
I
ice
agree with
cream.
that.
Oh, I'm
not
so
using
glad
a
you have
spoon.
standards.
But like chips or fries.
You guys, I think that's so weird. I think that's, and I used to probably lean more that way because I really just didn't have enough money. And like there was a time when I lived in LA and the only thing I could afford was a coffee and 3 cookies in a pack at 7-Eleven for $1 every single day. That would be my one meal. Lost a lot of weight, was not healthy. But my point is, I probably would have done the fry thing at that point, but couldn't afford to get into a ballpark anyway.
I think we found the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
But I also
All
was
right.
the type of kid that like my my stepdad used to do like dumpster diving at our apartment complex.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, and I like to do it too when I was a kid.
How did like syringes not accidentally like get you or anything?
I don't know if it was just I don't think there was a pile of syringes in there. You just kind of look through. You don't just like it's not literally
jump
diving in. Just to be fair, Morgan, I'm not like going in and literally doing like a dive like
Okay.
off a diving board.
Got it.
You just climb in and you
Okay.
kind of just look around. You never know what you could find.
Wow.
All right. I think we got time for one more.
Yes, please.
This is from Los Angeles, coming from the AP. Boy meets Congress?
Oh, yes, I saw this story.
Oh, okay.
It's a boy meets Congress.
Boy meets Congress.
He's trying to pass a bill, but he can't get it done.
When the boy meets Congress. Go on.
So that might happen after actor Ben Savage who is most known for his role as Corey Matthews in Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World, announced on his Instagram on Monday that he is running for U.S. Congress in the 30th District in California. The seat is currently held by Democratic U.S. Rep. Adam Schiff, who is running for U.S. Senate. Now, this is not the first time that Savage has run for public office. Last year, he ran for a seat on the West Hollywood City Council, but only received about 6% of the vote.
Okay. You cannot run for West Hollywood Council and lose and go, you know what? I'm going to try for Congress. You can't win the council seat in West Hollywood when you're Ben Savage. I was going to say Fred Savage. That's his brother. Wait.
What's his name?
Wait,
Corey Matthews. Just go with
his
Corey
name's Fred. His name's Fred?
Ben.
His brother's Fred. That's in Austin
Yes.
Powers.
Yes.
Thank you. Ben Savage, you lost a council race and you think you're going to run for Congress?
Shoot for the moon, land upon the stars.
The council is like the play-in for Congress, right?
That's not even close to that.
Like you have to win the play-in to go to the playoffs, which would be Congress.
I think I could win the West Hollywood Council right now, a council seat there.
No, you could not.
I would fare far better than him.
West Hollywood? No, you would not. You don't know anything about that town.
One, what politicians know anything about any town they're in?
Then Deuce would run as an outsider.
As an outside perspective. And could you imagine me with a mic?
Give him the mic and get out of his way.
Thank you.
That would be his motto.
I loved story time today.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. That
We
was
learned some things.
really very PG of you.
Yeah.
Except Cocaine Cat.
Cocaine Cat. Well, coming up next, we're going to switch gears, catch up with our buddy Chris Biederman. Does he change his last name to B-E-E because he works for the B? You know?
No.
Chris Biederman.
No, you do not. No.
He's not a company man.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Chris Biederman, number one, does great work with the Sacramento Bee covering the Kings. Also the host of Candlestick Chronicles with our buddy Kyle Madsen.
Dude, he does it all.
Yeah, we'll talk to him coming up next. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
So he was waiting for Mike Brown's availability.
Okay.
Just FYI, but he was leaving at 12:45. Should be home just on time. So cool.
I do like when Fred Savage was brought out, Deuce. The first thing you thought, I was like, oh yeah, the guy from Austin Powers.
What else is he in?
Wonder Years. That was like the thing that made him famous.
Yeah, but Wonder Years, I don't.
Oh, what was that video
alive?
game movie? He was in a video game movie.
Wonder Years was on from 88 to 93. I mean, I remember it, but I just remember in 8th grade watching that Austin Powers and how much I cried laughing at the Molly, 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 Mo. And now I don't find it funny.
I'm trying to think of what that movie was. Anybody in the chat, please help me. The Wiz. There it is. The Wiz.
The Wiz.
Not The Wiz, The Wizard.
I'm tweeting this out. Chris, have you seen the Beam in person?
The Beam?
Yeah.
Of course.
You know what's so funny? Me and Morgan have not seen the Beam in person.
Wait, how is that possible? Do you just go out a different way? No, that's not possible. That's literally not possible.
No,
you have to make a point not to look at the Beam.
No, I've not seen it, man. And the reason being, so we park underneath the arena and, you leave and you don't see it. There's no angle. I need to go see it. We were joking
As
with
you
some
drive
NBA.
away.
No, because when you drive out of the building, you're going right. Then you go down J Street. We have not seen it in person.
I've seen it driving back from
I've
San
seen
Francisco.
it. Like I've seen,
Okay,
but no,
so
I have not
yes,
stood
yes.
outside. I have not gone out front and
In
looked at the
Doco.
beam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that sounds better.
I've seen it from like I-5 before.
Yeah.
I
Which
need
is
to go
really
see
cool.
it. No, I know. We were hanging out with some NBA people and they were like, wait, you guys haven't seen it? Like, we saw it. I'm like, I know, that's weird.
They were even saying how they felt a sense of pride when they saw it. It was just, I mean, it's something that has been taking over.
I need to go out there after a game.
I know. It's just hard because we try to like race back for.
Night chat. Yeah, we race back for you cowards, and you're giving me, you're taking shots at me in the chat right now as if I'm some bad person.
Not because of that.
Tinkle time.
It's tinkle time.
It doesn't have much time.
Oh, don't. Well,
Gotta
whatever.
be quick.
Bathroom's pretty close. Actually, if you listen hard, you can probably hear him pee. Just kidding. Because I'm too busy singing about pay. There's no pay like my pee, like your pee, I know. Is that good?
Is that
Chris?
your go-to?
It's funny. I do have a Woj Bomb song to
Oh,
that.
here
Oh,
we go. Oh, of course. I know that.
Oh.
Well, no.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings are now 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win over the New York Knicks last night. Kings are off tonight. They'll be back in action tomorrow when they face the Phoenix Suns. Suns will be without their forward Kevin Durant, who the team said will be reevaluated in 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. Brock Purdy finally had his surgery to repair the ulnar collateral ligament today. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo is reporting that it was a successful surgery, and reconstruction was not said to be complex. The timetable is now about 6 months to recover until Purdy can get back on the field. For more information on Brock Purdy's surgery, check out Niners insider Emil Fergosa's report on SactownSports.com. And now more with Deuce and Mo, and hopefully soon our guest, Chris Biederman.
It's Deuce and Mo.
On Sactown Sports.
I shouldn't have even admitted that. I can't believe the amount of crap I am getting from people in the YouTube chat, from our boss going, you haven't seen the beam yet?
He's not wrong.
I mean, I've seen it. I just haven't been out front, and I've been talking. I think, all right, I need to do that. And no, people are like, well, you could just go out front and then go back down. It's not that easy, okay? But guess what? I'm going to make it a point to go see it. Also, I was like, now I want to wait to see it on a very special night.
Let's ask.
Last night wasn't special? Oh, I guess you weren't there.
I wasn't at the
We
game.
weren't
I was
there.
there.
Maybe there's like a night where like a certain security guard. Otherwise, we're gonna have to walk all
I
the
know.
way
It's
back
fine.
around.
Stop.
Oh
We're
my God.
sounding very high maintenance right now.
No. Oh,
We're
no.
sounding high maintenance.
It's not. It's about being efficient for the job that comes after the
Right,
job.
right.
You know, like we just have job on job on job. Like we got to be efficient. But no, we'll find time for the beam.
I've seen it driving. Just not been outside for like the selfie. That's all, man. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Make sure if you're in the YouTube chat, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports and SactownSports1140.com. It's been a jam-packed show coming up at 2, by the way. Cattles and Rami, and they're going to have a lot to discuss about last night's Kings game, the win over the Knicks. Also, I'm really sick of this Warrior. That's what I want to talk to you about before Chris Biederman's here.
Yeah.
When are we going to get to the point, Morgan, with the Warriors where we go, okay, we got to stop with they're a championship team.
Okay.
Are you ready? When are you going to be like, hey, they're not that serious at this point?
So I think it's fair to have this conversation about how, and we were talking to some people about this, how they're very much like, we're the Warriors. We'll figure it out in the playoffs. We always do. But then they try to play the narrative of, we're a different team. We're trying to figure things out. This isn't the same team as that we've had, the same pieces. And it's like, yo, the hypocrisy is real. You guys got to stop contradicting yourselves, and you have to understand what your identity is. And they're not willing to admit and or to face what their identity is right now. And I think right now being in between has really hurt them.
They're 7-26 on the road. Like, we have to at some point, and I don't know what it's going to take for people to believe this. It's not the same team as last year. They're not that team. They've lost key pieces from Otto Porter to Bielitsa, Damian Lee, Juan Toscano Anderson. And people get they get sucked into yeah, but Steph, I love Steph. I think he is one of the great players to ever play the game, but he can't do it by himself. And yesterday against a short-handed Memphis team, after they were doing all that jaw-jacking back and forth, Draymond talking about Dylan Brooks, the Grizzlies were shorthanded and they won. They won convincingly. This Warriors team's not serious, and they're not going to be serious, especially where's Andrew Wiggins? No one knows what's going on with Andrew Wiggins right now. So my point to this, how it connects with the Kings, is quite simple. If you had to deal with them at some point, this is probably the best year to go up against a team like this. And I know it's a big, bad Warriors. You want to be scared. I just don't know how scared you should really be. Also, Dylan Brooks last night, remember we played that big promo that Draymond Green cut yesterday on him or on the podcast?
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks had some things to say post-game. Here's a battle of the mid between Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks after the game.
Can't hear anything. I can't hear anything.
By the way, Chris was just telling me you guys couldn't hear anything. That's so weird.
Are you?
I don't know how you wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Oh,
but...
it was epic. It was great, and you'll never know now. That's so weird.
Oh,
Whatever.
Whatever.
Oh
Well,
God.
they went back and forth. Basically, he went after the game and said that, yeah, I'm better than Draymond Green. I'm a better player than him. These two guys going back and forth. I'm like, Draymond, you got to just stop caring about Dylan Brooks. Draymond after the game also said that it's not a rivalry. Winning a game in March does not make it a rivalry. This whole back and forth between these two is so weird. And I think Draymond, you go back to the beginning of the year, the punch with Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
We thought, could they recover from it? It's not recovered. Draymond's got 1 foot out the door.
Oh,
It's
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's so sad too not sad, but when you do look at the Warriors and the direction that they're going in, and you talk about Bob Myers, you talk about Draymond, all these things, it's breaking down, but it could break down for the better as well because they still have Steve Kerr in a culture. Well,
how long though? Does Bob Myers dip out? Could the Kings be ending the Warriors? Could they be? It's like a casket match. You know?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Mike Brown burying his former team. Rest in peace.
It'd be like Jungle Boy and Christian, where he
Yeah.
just gives him one last kiss and then shuts the casket.
He would. That's actually be very emotional.
Mhm.
Brett in the chat, by the way, and Chris Watkins say, future Sacramento King Draymond Green? Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but
no.
that who knows? I feel like he's going to go join LeBron.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop wasting time. We need to hit on the Sacramento Kings win last night. Let's bring in a guy who covers the Kings at an elite level for the Sacramento Bee. He's joining us right now. Chris Biederman. What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired. It's late NBA nights are still catching up with me a little bit, but I'm working on it. I'm working on getting on enough sleep.
What time are you? Because we heard some of your questions in the locker room with Kevin Herter after the game. Like, what time are you getting out of there?
I left the arena at midnight last night, I think, and sadly, didn't get to see the beam. I guess they turned the beam off at around midnight.
Yes, they do.
Maybe during the week. It was a little disappointing, but it's fine.
Yeah, they definitely turn off. I don't know why. There must be some regulation. They have to turn it off for some bizarre reason.
Sure.
And then you're at practice today. Let's start with that. Before we go back to last night, obviously the Kings got the win. Mike Brown was obviously upset too with the rebounding issues. What were the vibes like today following Kings practice?
I mean, generally they're pretty good. I think what stood out, we obviously followed up with Mike about his messaging and just sort of the timing of it, right? Because it felt very pointed in terms of when this message was sent to the team, right? It was, obviously our stars Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox have to set the tone for the rest of the guys and hold everybody accountable. And just the timing of it gave the indication that Brown is maybe sensing that his team is feeling itself a little bit, right? They're 7-1 since the All-Star break. They're, what the best from a net ratings perspective, the best, if not one of the best teams in the fourth quarter. Their defense, which you talk about a lot, is going into last night was 10th in the NBA in terms of per 100 possessions. So I think there was an element that Mike Brown wanted to nip in the bud. Like, guys, we haven't accomplished anything yet. We've been a nice regular season story, but our goals are clearly a lot bigger than just making the playoffs, right? And just even having home court advantage. Like, home court advantage, I would guess in Mike Brown's mind isn't going to mean a whole lot if they don't advance past the first round, right? So I asked him about just his the timing of that message coming after the big win, after being on national TV, amid a 7-1 stretch. And he basically said, like, we're not going to take the next step as a team until Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox are the ones delivering the message and holding those guys accountable. And I'm sure you guys have talked about it already today. With Fox in particular, it was about stringing together a full 48 minutes and not having to rely on him taking it to that extra level in the fourth quarter consistently. And obviously that's a big part of his game and a big reason why the Kings have been successful this year. But Brown wants Fox to be more locked in the first and second quarters and even the third quarter, right? Like, so they don't need him to turn it on necessarily at that level. And it's not even necessarily about scoring. It's just about all the other little things that Mike Brown harps on defensively, moving the ball, shot selection, rebounding is obviously a big one. So I think it was a really fascinating sort of approach Mike Brown is taking, because this is a guy who's clearly been there, right? Like, he's been on coaching staffs that have included or that have coached Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and all those guys. And he's seen what it takes to win championships. And so he's pushing the idea that, like, hey guys, we're not resting on our laurels just because we're playing well since the All-Star break and the seeding is what it is. Like, if we want to get to that championship level, these are the steps we have to take. And it starts with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis taking more ownership of the roster and setting the tone, so it's not just Mike Brown harping on all these things.
So what's the tone then after, like, last night you're in the locker room, you're obviously talking to Kevin Hurt. I felt like, it's the understanding that comes from these teammates is pretty remarkable. Like, everyone's just buying in, is on the same page. But now we factor in Mike Brown calling out the stars to kind of hold other teammates accountable. Does everyone with this team also seem pretty ready and I don't know,
bought in? Yeah.
To that concept as well.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, all indications are, that they're all bought in. Like, it didn't. No one seems upset that, like, oh, Mike Brown is not happy with the way we're playing despite getting the win. And Mike put it into context a little bit too. He's like, I made sure to tell him, like, guys, enjoy the fact that we won. Like, we won the game. That's obviously a good thing. But Mike is saying they set a standard that they didn't reach last night, just in terms of the way they were playing. The result was what they wanted, but the standard wasn't there in terms of, the defense, the allowing all those offensive rebounds and not boxing out Josh Hart, like those types of things. And that all started back in training camp. Like, you talk to the players and they'll tell you, like, they signed the contracts. I know you guys have probably talked about that, like the contracts that they signed, and everybody sort of embracing their role and developing a certain level of trust that allows Mike Brown to be hard on his guys, even his best players at this point in the season, even while the team is enjoying this level of success that no one really outside the building saw coming, right? So it feels like right now that everybody is bought in, and that obviously winning is going to cure any bad feelings that anybody has. So, but I think Mike Brown just he's built up a ton of equity in that room, not only because of how he's handled and coached the team, but because of where he comes from and because of what he's seen in the players he's coached and the coaches he's coached under. So I think all that is sort of looking like a perfect storm at this point in terms of the way the players are buying in, the way they're accepting their roles and understanding. Like, another big point in the season is, like, a lot of guys, even Keegan Murray last night, Malik Monk's at certain stretches of the season, Kevin Huerter at certain stretches. Like a lot of these guys don't get to play crunch time every night just because of how the game goes and, you know, whether or not they're rebounding or playing defense early in games. Like guys are sitting out fourth quarters, and there isn't always a set rotation of who's in the game in crunch time. And that's not really an issue because everybody's bought in and everybody's understanding that Mike Brown is trying to put the team in best position to succeed. And there's just an inherent level of trust, which I think ultimately, like that culture that Mike Brown has built has really been as important as anything else that's happened this season, whether it's tactical or whether it's De'Aaron Fox scoring in the fourth quarter. Like that culture of accountability, we're starting to see it shine through. And I just saw it last night. Like if they go on a run and they end up winning a round or two in the playoffs, like we can point to last night's game against the Knicks is like, okay, that's when they took a step in terms of maturing as a team and developing beyond like this cool regular season story. And like, okay, they might actually be on a path towards something a lot bigger than just reaching the playoffs and ending this playoff drought.
It's just weird for several reasons because one, this whole concept of being critical after a win is foreign because the Kings aren't usually winning anything meaningful in March. And usually if they are, it's like, oh, they won. This is so fun. But, you know, you're just enjoying the 27 wins they might get in the season. So now you're to the point. It's like, no, we're not accepting this even in a victory. Like we have to be honest with where we are as a team at this point in time. I think that's just, it's so refreshing to be honest. I'm curious from your perspective, are you surprised at how fast the culture has seemingly shifted? Because, you know, I know talking to Morgan before the season, you know, one of her things was like, look, I think Mike Brown's the right guy, but the West is tough and it takes time to build and establish that type of culture. It's going to maybe take a year or two to get there. Are you surprised at how fast this has developed for Sacramento?
Yes and no. I've asked different guys about that, and you know, you have a new coaching staff. So one of the things that I think has allowed it to happen so quickly is that there aren't necessarily a ton of ties to that losing culture. When you look at it's a new coaching staff for the most part, right? It's a group of players with a lot of guys in the rotation that have joined the team within the last year or two, right? Like Trey Lyles added to last year's trade deadline. Domantas Sabonis last year's trade deadline. Kevin Huerter over the summer. Malik Monk over the summer, right? Like these are a lot of core rotation pieces that are not tied to in any way the 16 years of missing the playoffs, right? So they don't feel that burden. They don't feel that weight that other people who have been with the organization throughout all that or fans have certainly dealt with. Like they're not wearing that as, you know, bricks in their backpack trying to go through the season. They're just playing basketball. They're just doing what they've been training to do their whole lives, right? So they don't feel the brunt of what the organization has been through in the same way that fans have. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think, you know, it's just a roster that makes sense. Like being able to get and you know, addition by subtraction, right? Like Buddy Hield isn't here, Marvin Bagley isn't here. Like not to throw those guys under the bus, but like there's a certain winning attitude that was really important to Monty McNair in terms of the guys that they brought in. And some of that is buying into and accepting your role, right? And so to have guys like Trey Lyles and Malik Monk and Keegan Murray, obviously a rookie, right? Like he doesn't have any ties to the losing stretch. So I think all of that points to it being a quicker turnaround than initially expected. And look, not to be a wet blanket either, but like since the All-Star break, they've gotten a little bit lucky in terms of like the teams they've played and not playing stars. Like they came out of the All-Star break against Portland, who didn't have Damian Lillard. One of the Clippers games, Kawhi didn't play. Zion wasn't available in the Pelicans game. You know, the Jalen Brunson sat out the second half last night. Kevin Durant's not going to play on Saturday. So like there is an element that like, yeah, they're playing well and they're winning these games that they should win. But there's also an element of like, all right, maybe the fact that, you know, they've been healthier. Domantas Sabonis is like vehemently against load management, right? Like he is not going to sit games just to sit games. He's like, I've asked him about it and he's like, no, man, I'm paid to play. I love to play. And he's never going to sit out a game if he doesn't need to.
That guy.
And so that's an element of it too. Like you could probably look around the landscape of the league and be like, yeah, the Kings are probably one of the healthier teams in the league. So that might have factored into, you know, the fact that And that comes along with some other teams maybe not having the type of regular season from a health perspective that they were anticipating. So that might lead to the Kings having a quicker turnaround than anticipated also.
You know, you talk about the buy-in, and then you look at it from the starting unit all the way to the bench, and you mentioned one of the guys, Trey Lyles. We were talking to our guy, Chris Watkins, earlier today about Trey Lyles, and he was talking about how he's like his number one fan, and that if you are a Trey Lyles fan, I just saw on Twitter, the group is called Trey Bays.
Oh, yeah, Chris is a Trey Bay, right?
Yeah, so
Chris
we
Biederman's
heard
a Trey
Chris
Bay?
Biederman is a Trey Bay. Is this true? What do you like about Trey Lyles so much?
So I've never heard that term. So I don't know.
I have not before today either, but I like it. You're a Trey Bay.
Trey Bay.
So I will say, when there was all this talk about, before the trade deadline and even the months before that, like, oh, the Kings really need to make a move to find a backup center. It was like, do they, or should they just maybe try to go super small and play 5 out with Trey Lyles as their backup center? And then there was the overtime game in Minnesota, right? Where after Domantas Sabonis fouled out, instead of Mike Brown going to Chimezie Metu, he went to Trey Lyles, and Trey Lyles, like boxed out Rudy Gobert that allowed somebody else to get a rebound. He drew a foul trying to fight for an offensive rebound. He hit a big 3. He had a dunk in that overtime sequence. And I was like, all right, maybe the Kings are onto something. And, talking to members of the coaching staff about it, they're like, we feel really good about that as sort of like a ace in their pocket, right? Like they could potentially go to that. And look, like, Mike Brown's been on a staff that went super small with the Warriors, right? And that was a change that really helped them win a playoff series, win a championship. I'm not saying that like Trey Lyles could potentially swing a playoff series, but given the style of play that the Kings play with and the speed and the shooting that they have, I would say in the playoffs and in high leverage situations, and Mike Brown's done it, he did it last night again too, like that type of style might be better than trying to replicate what Domantas Sabonis does, right? Like you're not going to get a backup big who's going to come in and rebound at the rate Sabonis does or pass like Sabonis does. And I'm not saying Chimezie Metu is a bad player, but in high leverage situations, you might just be better off playing 5 out and playing super fast and pulling the opponent's big man away from the paint by having Trey Lyles out there. And his versatility just gives them a big boost in those spots. And look, like Trey Lyles makes $2.5 million a year. And you could probably go through the season and there's at least a handful of games where he's given you 15, 20 points and really been a difference in some of these victories. And for $2.5 million, I mean, that's, there's a ton of value. And I know for a fact, like the Warriors would kill to have somebody like Trey Lyles coming off their bench, right? A lot of really good teams would love to have a guy who could play forward, either the forward spots and small ball center, shoot the way he does, pass the way he does. And it's just like a cerebral guy, like, in the locker room, he's not the loudest guy, but he's always reading. Like he's a guy who's like always got his nose in books. He's a professional. He's definitely the type of guy that like embodies this buying into your role type situation. And the fact that the Kings were able to get him, at the trade deadline last year for Marvin Bagley, I mean, I think that's really underrated in terms of the moves Monty McNair's made. So yeah, like I've, other guys who work at your station have given me grief about the Trey Lyles thing, but like I didn't think they needed to go give away a bunch of assets to go get a backup center when you can like, no, like let's switch this thing up and play super fast with Trey Lyles and see if it works. And so far it looks like it has.
I agree with you. I like Trey Lyles, small ball 5. I've been saying ever since that Minnesota game too. It makes a lot of sense. They also called him Kevin Lyles. Jamal Crawford.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Kevin Lyles
last
night.
His alter ego.
Was it Jamal Crawford who said that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's too bad. I mean, let's give Jamal benefit of the doubt. He's played in the league. It's not like an announcer just like, being ill prepared. I think Jamal Crawford has paid his dues with the game.
That's what I think too. He's a nice guy too. On the broadcast, they were, Brian Anderson was mentioning this late. It looked like Fox was laboring a little bit. Maybe the hamstring was bugging him, but then of course he turns it on. You're like, okay, well, was it really bugging him? Was he just fighting through it? Obviously he missed that game. Brown said he held him out the game before the Knicks game, which was, who did they play?
Who they play before the Knicks?
New Orleans.
Was it Minnesota? Oh yeah, New Orleans.
You're right. It's been a long week, Chris. It's been a long week.
I'm with you, man. It's been a long few weeks.
Did you notice anything with him laboring? Do you think it's still kind of a thing we're gonna have to watch here?
Yeah, I mean, he said even leading up to yesterday's game that he didn't feel it, and if he did feel it, he wouldn't feel comfortable playing. But hamstrings can pop up at any time, and they can kind of linger. In my experience, covering even other sports, covering the NFL, like if you have a hamstring issue, it's not just going to go away overnight. So it might be something that they're going to be really careful with. I wouldn't be surprised if they did give him more time off as the regular season wound down here. But I couldn't really tell from my seat. Like it seemed like he was playing really hard, and some of those moves he had when he was getting to the basket and dunking and finishing in traffic and stuff in the fourth quarter last night seemed like he was operating at a pretty high level physically. But he's also a guy who will do something really explosive and then sort of shuffle back on defense. And I don't know if if that's the way he just saves energy, or if there is something there in terms of the hamstring and the way he feels it. So it wouldn't surprise me, just given how tricky hamstrings can be, and with all the traveling and flights that they have coming up. I probably look at next Thursday's game in Brooklyn after playing in Chicago on Wednesday. Are the Kings maybe going to think about not playing him at the back end of a back-to-back?
Yeah.
That's something I'm sure they'll consider, and I'm sure they're going to think about a lot. And Fox has been banged up. He had the wrist thing in Oklahoma City. He had I know after the Dallas game a few weeks ago, he started having wraps on his fingers. I think after hitting the floor trying to get a steal from Kyrie Irving. There have been a few different moments where it feels like Fox physically has been a little bit banged up, and so Again, it wouldn't surprise me at all if down the stretch here they give him a night or two just to try to keep some wear and tear off his body ahead of the playoffs.
Well, make sure to check out Chris's work, sacbead.com. Dude, you're killing it this year. I really like your stuff. No, you really it's been really good stuff. So keep it up, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with us today, man.
Thanks, Chris.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys. It's always good to see you.
Trey Bay.
Trey Bay.
Chris Biederman.
You know what? Like, I'm a big Trey Lyles guy. I don't know if I want to be a Trey Bay.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be a Trey Bay then.
Okay,
I'll be the
okay,
Trey
good.
Bay. You could just be like, yeah, I like him at the small ball 5. That's
all
cool.
right. Perfect.
All right,
that's
Chris.
good.
I
That's good
appreciate
for
you, man.
All right.
Chris
See you guys
Biederman.
later. Thanks for having me.
See ya from the Sacramento Bee. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We got a lot more to get to. Coming up at 2, Cattles and Rami. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com. My guy Carlin over here knocking over lights.
What the hell?
Yeah.
The hell, dog?
Let's read some chat. Scooter 916, not being nitpicky. If the Knicks would have made shots last night, we would have lost, and you could directly point to the boards for that reason. It's a legit concern.
Hey, Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It was definitely a concern last night, but the Knicks are also not a good shooting team. They didn't shoot the ball well last night, 41%. They took 53s, and Julius Randle costs. We want to talk about like second chance opportunities. Randle was not good last night. 2 of 12 from 3. The guy's chucking up shots like he's Steph. Like, what are you doing? Play your game.
Someone from Twitter just wrote, from Talking Kings on Twitter, said, New York perspective from last night's game, ESPN 98.7, Michael K. show. The Sacramento Kings are outstanding. They're better than the Knicks. Good young talent, quick to the basket. I think it's funny when you see like a team, like especially a Knicks personality try and crap on their team after a loss, because the Knicks are still a really good team. And Julius Randle has his moments where he doesn't play well.
Also, Jalen Brunson did not play in the second half. The Knicks are fine. Chris, what were you going to say?
Oh, I just proved Chris Watkins wrong. He said that Biederman was the biggest Trey Lyles fan in Sacramento.
Good point.
I'm proud to call myself a Trey Bay.
Aww.
Trey Bay.
Hey, Trey Bay. I saw that in the chat.
Trey Bay.
Not taking it.
Trey Bay.
Chris Verlot and Chris Watkins, and not Chris Biederman, but your Trey Bays.
Quickly, 1 of 11, dude. Yeah, he had made that shot late in the game, right? He was 0 for 10 before it.
He was my dog of the weekend on Monday.
I mean, because 55 minutes. That's probably why he's exhausted. He's like, God,
Tibbs, I can't do this.
Thibodeau, you just played me 55 minutes in double overtime, man. Sneeze. Excuse me.
Only 6 more things to do today. Let's see. going to tell you everything that I'm doing. Everyone has a picture next to the beam except me. Hi. Are you producing? Yeah? Oh, what? Sorry, there's a
Everything good?
Yeah, no, cute ass dog just like got on top of a table because a window was open and the sun is like pounding on the table. So he wanted to soak up the sun and is like on a spot that he's not supposed to be. But what are you gonna do? Let the dog
What are
soak
you
up the
gonna
do? What are you gonna do?
Sato, what is up? He says it's now our time to chat. Going to afternoon Kings game. Will the beam be lit? And can you see it in the day? When's the afternoon Kings
The
game?
11 a.m.
That's a
It's-
Stockton.
I know. That's what it was my point I was just about to make.
But during the playoffs, there could be an afternoon
Dude.
game on a weekend.
But March 24th, if you guys are not working at 11 a.m.,
We will not be doing a show that day because we'll be at Golden One Center for Stockton Kings basketball final regular season game. I think they're playing Mexico City. By the way, you know who's on Mexico City?
I do.
Scal Labissiere. Remember him?
Yeah, he's going to be like, I remember this old place. I'm really excited to call a game at Golden One Center.
I am too. People are saying 3 p.m. against the Spurs. Yeah, so but that game would end at 5:30. Yeah, you're right. It'll be light out. They'll still light it that night.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Oh, slow it down. It's a Friday. I need to chill out a little bit. We're in the home stretch headed to the weekend. Chris Verlad. What's up, my man?
I'm Chris Verlad with your chill Sactown Sports headlines.
We hate that rock music.
Kings are 2-0 on TNT after their 122-117 win over the Knicks. They play the Suns Saturday. No KD. He's out at least 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. You can listen to the game on Sactown Sports. Brock Purdy finally got his elbow fixed. You can find out more about his surgery from Niners Insider Emil Fergoza's report on SactownSports.com. Now more with Deuce and Mo.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo.
Sactown Sports.
Oh, yes.
It's so much better. Night and day.
I know what you don't like. You're talking about the music that traditionally gets played during the sports headlines.
It is so 90s old and weird, and I just don't understand why, as a station, we still do it. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. Brian, if you're listening, please, for the love of God.
Wait, you don't like the...
Like, are we super masculine? Like, what are we trying to do? And Brian is so cool that I feel like I could tell him this like this and over text, but it's so bad. It is so bad.
You just don't like it. You know, some people like it, you know?
No, Deuce.
It's a personal thing, you know?
It's not, though. It's so, it's definitely like, it's
All right,
old.
fine. You know what? Let's break it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Chris Verlad, how do you feel about the
I really don't care.
You're such a be honest. Be honest.
No,
Chris.
it really doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Wow, he has to take pride in it.
No, I guess he
Yeah.
doesn't like working.
No, he doesn't.
Anything.
He doesn't.
Cool, Chris.
At all. It's
Yeah.
kind of disappointing. in
Honestly,
some ways.
very disappointing.
Hey, Morgan.
I love it. I really do love it. I think it should be there forever.
I hate your stupid face.
Morgan, we have some interesting stuff from last night's game to
Yeah.
get to. Sabonis, after last night's triple-double, 4th all-time in triple-doubles by a center. Also, I saw this on the TNT broadcast. Stephanie Reddy put this out. Players to average 18 plus points, 12 plus rebounds, 7 plus assists in NBA history. Wilt did it twice. Oscar did it in the 61-62 season. Jokic did it in the 21-22 season. And this year, Sabonis is doing that. That's pretty elite company, I would say.
Elite company. And I mean, sometimes like there's stats that we look at and we're like, okay, people are reaching. What Domas Sabonis is doing in so many different categories, it's absolutely incredible.
I thought the TNT broadcast did a great job highlighting Sacramento. Stan Van Gundy, Brian Anderson. I'm not just saying that because Brian Anderson put us over, unlike anyone has put us over in my life. Like, the guy didn't even know us, and he showered us with praise. Morgan started crying on yesterday's show because of it. But
and then really quick, and then I text him later, and it was like, again, the sweetest text. But go on.
I guess my point was I just thought they did a great job, like putting Sabonis over, talking about how good he is, talking about Sacramento and what it means to the fan base. And I think that's a lot of times when National comes to town, it's like you're conflicted, right? Because you're excited that your team's on national TV, but then you get really offended if they say something wrong or they don't understand something about your team or the city or they sounded like they knew what the hell they were talking about.
Yep.
And that was cool.
Yeah, they studied up, but they also, whoever they were communicating with and talking to, they wanted to immerse themselves into what the city is feeling and talk about that vibe, because it is a special vibe. And I think they did a great job. And I think a lot of national people that came to the game did a great job of trying to be like, hey, let's take the time to go out and see the beam. Hey, let's be on the floor and talk to people about vibes and so many different things. And that's what you should obviously be doing as a reporter or someone that's covering an NBA game. But it's different because you're getting so much national coverage on a TNT game and everyone's there to really talk about things, the vibe and everything.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was great stuff. Vince Carter, by the way, tweeted out, he does work for Turner or Warner Media now. Good Lord. Swipe of the Fox. The Kings are for real. Sheesh. Did he say it like that in the tweet? Sheesh.
Did he? Oh, no, he did not say it like that. He's just saying sheesh.
No, I think he
was not saying it like the kids, like sheesh.
Yeah.
If
like,
you know, you know.
Fox is bussin'.
No cap.
Playing with that Riz.
With that Riz. He got that Riz.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play her with Riz.
No cap.
Yeah.
Morgan Reagan, the other thing I want to talk about, we mentioned Mike Brown being critical of the team. He had a message for Kings fans last night. I think we should all take note of this. The Light the Beam chants are great. We all love Light the Beam, Light the Beam. The timing has not been great at some games this year. And it was happening when the Kings were shooting free throws last night. Mike Brown was asked about it.
Definitely not when our players shooting a free throw. I mean, I love our fans, but we yell and light the beam when a player's shooting a free throw. You're supposed to do that right when they shooting a free throw, not when we shooting a free throw. So, I don't want. It's hard because I don't want to temper the fans' excitement. They definitely pay, their hard-earned money to come to the game and do it. But let the guys shoot free throws first. I mean, you saw we almost didn't light the beam tonight, and we're yelling light the beam when guys are shooting free throws too early. I mean, for me, obviously, I don't like that. But again, our fans, they deserve whatever they got coming to them. So it's hard for me to really get on them, and we should step up and make free throws. But let's just try to do it when they're not shooting a free throw.
I love it. He is, you know what? He goes, you know what? I have a good grasp and a good relationship with this fan base. I'm gonna sprinkle these few things in for the people that are listening. Hey, let's try and keep it down to under 2 minutes when we have the lead. Oh, and let's not do it during free throws. I know you want your guys to be mentally strong, but it could also light a little fire under the other team's ass too.
Is there a little noise when you're shooting a free throw?
Again, it's about motivating the other team.
I'm sorry. The timing, fine. I get you want to be quiet during free throws, but the more I think about it, I go back and forth because I'm like, you know what? When you're on the road, guess what? In a big playoff game or in a close game on the road, the fans are going to make noise and you're going to have to make a free throw. If you're going to tell me that, hey, the Kings were missing free throws in this game because of light the beam chance, then we have some bigger issues at hand.
No, Mike Brown has
flavor and light the beam.
Yes. Ian brings up a great point in the
What?
chat. What's the difference between light the beam and De'Aaron Fox going the line and MVP?
Nobody likes it, but you're not gonna. That's the thing. You don't. It doesn't happen every night, right? It's not happening night in and night out. These MVP chants late at games with De'Aaron Fox on the line. I mean, you're seeing that also with every single team. Mike Brown has OCD. So do I. And I understand just being like, hey, I would rather have this type of structure to something and go along the lines with let's not try and motivate a team, jinx anything, even if you don't believe in jinxes.
I don't think this with Mike Brown is a jinx or motivation thing. I think his thing was quiet during free throws when we're shooting. That's what he was saying.
This specifically, yes, but he has talked about this before.
Why are you getting so worked up right now?
No, because this specifically, this situation, he was talking about the free throw, but he has talked about this before, Deuce.
Okay.
So stop doing it. If you piss off Mike Brown, I'm going to come after you.
You just got really worked up on this. I was just having some fun with this whole light the beam thing.
Wait, no, I did not. No, I did
Oh,
not.
God.
No, I
Hey,
did not.
YouTube people,
Deuce,
do me a
you're feeling a different vibe. No. And
Do
by
me a
the way,
favor.
we're not going to do this.
Go back and look at this and look at her hand gestures and someone clip it, tweet it out, and
Take
tell
a
me she
look.
wasn't worked
I don't
up.
care.
See,
I
just
use
look
my
at her.
hands. I do what I want.
I think
Can't flip off the camera.
I think you need a Mo's minute. You're feeling it right now.
I own
It's
it,
okay.
honey.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and
No,
JJ
that's
Sub
to me.
you
He's
need-
saying own it to me.
You need a Morgan minute.
Yeah, Mo's minutes are great. You need like 700
think,
Mo's minutes.
You know what? We did skip it at 11:40, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we need to do it coming up. We have our final segment of the show coming up. We got closing time, so much more. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
What?
Just
Get
wait
him-
the split second before I can turn your program out.
Yeah.
Melissa, get him Morgan. Louise, I'm with Morgan.
On what? There's nothing to be on.
They're just saying that I am not doing anything wrong. Like, just because you are making like this whole thing into something that is not.
No, definitely gaslight me for sure.
Oh!
For sure. No, that's cool. Yeah, I guess we support that. No, go ahead.
I can't.
You're grumpy, you're tired, and you're feeling it at the end of the show. And I get it. I'm not even going to criticize you for that. It's okay. It's been a long week. Blake says we can start a Mike Brown tradition at Golden One Center. Fans sit quietly for the last 2 minutes and they erupt and light the beam. That would be weird. It's time for Morgan's Minute.
It's Mo's minute, you freaking idiot. How about you do it? Do it. You need to breathe.
You know, people really want you to do this, Morgan. This is your thing. Like, do it.
I thought you were going to do it. Someone just said Deuce's minute. I can't, Chris. I can't even breathe right now. I can't even breathe. Yes, Draymond versus Dylan Brooks vibes. 100%. Thank you, Melissa. Like, my God. Thank you. Oh, my God. I agree, Kangs. I agree. You guys give me life. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's Gaslight Deuce for sure. Gaslight Deuce. Let's also acknowledge that Morgan's music came on. She didn't do her Mo's music.
Hey guys, I need to email you the giveaway that we need to do.
Okay.
Ooh.
Giveaway Snoop. Snoopy Doop.
My cousin just texted me. Your mic is live during the commercial. We know.
No, I kind of accidentally had it on the air.
Oh.
I turned it off.
Oh.
Rory, can we get a Mo's minute though? Yeah, I know.
Your mic is live. I know, it's always live.
All right, you got the giveaway in your email.
Hey.
Blake. Oh. Oh my God. I was at the game last night when Fox was shooting free throws and the fans started chanting MVP. I'm like, shut up. Do it after he makes them, not while he's shooting. It's annoying. That's what Nick says.
I tried getting a MVP chant when Trey Lyles was at the line, but nobody joined in.
That's good. Chris, I'm glad nobody joined in to that.
What?
Yeah, that's just what, dude, like sometimes it feels like it's mocking, you know?
No.
Yes. And it's obviously.
I wasn't mocking.
You're a Trey Bay. What can I say?
I am a Trey Bay.
You're a Trey Bay. I was right along with Dave says, I was screaming at the TV last night when the fans were cheering Light the Beam. Wasn't too early.
Now, I'm king of the say it as soon as possible. But even I thought it was a little too early last night.
Okay. Yeah, dude. I know it shouldn't matter, but like Mike Brown saying anything is fine. It's totally fine. Now, if he was
the Light the Beam chance is purely vibes. It needs to just go on vibes. I don't think there should be any set rules on it.
You say it's vibes, but there's some sort of energy that the chant can bring, and you just don't want to do it too soon. Now, Mike Brown, if he brought it up every single game, like, oh man, people got to stop. It's like, okay, stop worrying about it. But he said it for two different situations now. Just like, hey, how about not this? And how about not this?
How about you worry about getting a rebound and winning a game and let the fans do what they want? It's pretty simple. Okay. Like, you don't do Light the Beam in the third quarter up one, but who cares? Also, it doesn't impact the game. Like, do you think an NBA player's going, hey, the fans are chanting Light the Beam? I'm motivated now. It's like, no, this is the NBA. They're motivated. Like, go play. A Light the Beam chat is going to turn the game? Like, what are we talking about?
Someone else said, I was also at the game and saw Mike Brown try to hush the crowd with his hands when the chant started.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Man, so many sports fans and their jinxes and don't do this, but do that. Relax. If a fan wants to chant Light the Beam early, who cares? It doesn't impact the game in any way. And if people are missing free throws because of Light the Beam, we got bigger issues.
Deuce literally has a book called Deuce's Rule Book to Life. So you have your rules but they're rules, they're your ways. This is just some sports fans' ways.
There's a reason they call me Dictator Deuce.
Oh.
Okay? Because my rules are the ones that matter. Your rules, that's cute. Those are suggestions. Mine,
we should have a segment that's just called, and it's time for Dictator Deuce time.
I don't know if I want to be known as a dictator.
No,
actually.
probably not a good idea.
No, it's not that big a deal. I just thought it was funny because it's like, look, I know it's crazy. I've seen guys miss free throws, but it's completely silent.
See,
I've seen it.
I mean, we've talked about this. I'm the type that even when Deuce and I are doing a broadcast, and he's like, he's perfect from the free throw line tonight, like before the free throw. And I'm like, could you just say it right after?
Yeah.
Could you? And it's like, it doesn't always screw it up. It doesn't ever screw it up. But when he does miss, it just stings. And I hate that feeling of like stinging in my soul.
Yeah, that's a you problem for sure. What? Why are you looking at me like that? You are on edge, bro. Chill. Chill. It's Friday.
No, I'm not.
The Kings won.
If I was on edge, I would probably be like,
"You're kind of on edge right now. It's okay.
Tell me how."
I don't want to get in any trouble, man. I just want good vibes.
How about you?
You
should do.
You want to get the other fog machine going? In here, if you know what I mean. Speaking of smoke, Snoop Dogg coming to Golden One Center, baby.
Oh, God.
Yep, Live Nation has got your plug to check out Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, Too Short, baby, coming straight from Oakland. Got way more than I ever need. Okay, I'll stop. Too Short, Warren G. Burner,
I'm
High
corny
School
as
Reunion
hell.
Tour. That's not corny. I know Too Short.
I'm corny as hell.
You know Too Short?
Well, I've definitely hung out with Too Short before, but I know his music.
You got a picture with Too Short.
Oh yeah, you did.
He has a great song.
Simone was there. She knew about it.
Oh.
He has a great song about a woman named Betty.
Well, how does it go?
I can't sing any of it, I don't think. I can't. Anyway, Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, Too Short, Warren G. Burner, the High School Reunion Tour 2023 coming to Golden One Center featuring special guest DJ Drama. It's live at Golden One Center August 25th, 2023. And if you're caller 10 right now at 339-1140, caller 10, 339-1140, you're getting hooked up with a pair of tickets to that show. Get all the info. Get the latest stories all at SactownSports.com. Appreciate you guys so much. So enjoy Snoop Dogg in August.
Yeah.
That's actually a fun show.
That's a really cool show. That's fun.
Are you a Too Short person?
I mean, I'm more of I saw Snoop in concert.
Yeah? How was it?
It was an outdoor, it was on an AAU trip, and we were in San Diego, and they had a connection to this like outdoor music festival kind of thing. And I just remember there was a lot of smoke, and I was young, and I was just like, this is bad. This is all bad.
Why are they smoking?
What's happening with all this smells? Oh, and Black Eyed Peas were like on a different stage. I mean, it was just like a festival of people, but I remember we went to watch Snoop Dogg.
Dude, Black Eyed Peas, they were monster for a minute.
I mean, they did
were
that
huge.
the Super Bowl too. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a time.
I think it's that time.
Boom,
Let's
boom,
get to
pow.
closing time.
Closing time. It's closing time. But before we go, you know we have to give you a last call.
Did you know that March 10th is considered Mario Day? Because MAR and 10, like March 10th, is Mario Day.
How cute.
Are you a big Mario person?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I grew up playing.
I was more of a Sonic guy growing up. I didn't have a Nintendo. I had a Sega.
Okay, well, I mean, I remember Mario Kart. I remember when N64 came out. I remember always playing that whatever Mario game that was.
Mario Kart?
No, there was another Mario.
Mario
game
64.
Was it Mario 64? Yeah. Yeah, with like all the big black like ball that was on a chain that was like
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, my Mario days, they were fun. Oh, and isn't there a new Mario movie coming out too? Oh, that pissed you off.
Sort of.
Nothing's going
Allegedly.
Nothing's going to beat the original Mario movie.
What was the original?
Do you remember that, Chris?
With John Leguizamo?
Yes.
Let me see.
Let's see if I can find it. It's from 1993. I don't even know if I just remember kind of seeing it, parts of it when I was a kid. It was really bad.
Okay, these images, I mean, they bring it back. Wow.
Don't you do a good Mario, Morgan, or no?
Not really, but it's me, a Mario.
Chris?
It's me, a Mario.
That's
a Mario.
Do you do one?
No.
Oh.
Watkins does a very good one.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Better than yours?
Better than mine. He was doing like, I could just do the, it's Mario. He was doing like, woohoo, wahee.
Oh, I can do Toad.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Wow. Wow.
Is that a good Toad, Chris? I don't know.
It's a good Toad. I mean, like, might be the impression of the week so far.
Yes.
Are you better than my siren?
Yes,
I did?
stupid.
Yes.
Wow.
My tornado siren was that last week?
And you did it one time, and I think it was last week.
Can't do it anymore. All right. Brock Purdy finally had surgery today. Morgan,
Yes.
do you feel better?
I do. I
Honestly.
honestly, I do, because obviously we all wanted to see him get that surgery fast. That's usually what happens when a guy goes through a big injury, so they can recover and get ready for the next season. For him, I'm happy. I don't think it changes much about the Niners already know that there's a lot to think about at that position, even if it was going to be his surgery was going to be a month from now. You know, even if it was a month ago. What's that? Is that a vibrator noise?
Oh, is that your phone going off?
Oh, it's
that
my
was
phone.
that's a great impression that Deuce did make.
That was the phone.
It was for his story time.
Oh, my phone's. I guess my phone's vibrating. Hello. What's happening?
Yeah, Jay, I don't know what's happening.
Hello. Wait, were you like doing a bit to like? Why were you doing that bit? Why? Wait, what did that have to do with Brock Purdy?
It did it. It was connecting back to the story. It was a good time to interrupt you with a vibrating noise because, trust me, I don't need to explain my comedy. Last one, Kings and Suns, Morgan, tomorrow night. No Kevin Durant. Who you got?
God,
I'm not feeling
tough.
good about this
I
one.
know.
But you know what? Actually, I changed my mind. Kings are going to respond. Mike Brown ripped them after the game.
Okay.
To the media. He probably did in the locker room. Kings respond. Kings beat the Suns.
I think it's going to be a tough one. The Suns are still playing pretty well. I mean, they won a game without Kevin Durant since he's joined as well. I'm just going to go with the Suns, hoping for a Kings win. I'm just being honest.
Well, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. Kettles and Rami's coming up next. We love you, but we got to go.
See ya.